Chapter 1130. The old ancestor has come out of seclusion? If that's the case, Ling Xiao will die without a doubt if he dares to disobey. Ming Yu's eyes revealed a trace of surprise as he spoke respectfully. The old ancestor of the god-burying clan was extremely powerful and terrifying. He had killed countless extraterrestrial demons 1,000,000 years ago and had been in seclusion to recuperate for the past 1,000,000 years. If the old ancestor came out of seclusion, it meant that his injuries had healed. If Ling Xiao dared to disobey, then he could just kill him. After Ling Xiao killed the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain and the old ancestor of Emperor Tomb, Ming Yu might look calm on the surface, but in his heart he couldn't wait to kill Ling Xiao. The old ancestor of the god-burying clan was a peerless expert of the same era as the heavenly king of the heavenly human clan. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji's expression changed. They also knew that the old ancestor of the god-burying clan, Zhang Su, was said to be able to bury the heavens and earth. Ling Xiao had passed the supreme being tribulation, but he was only in the divine spirit realm. Against a peerless expert like Zhang Su, his chances of winning were slim. The two of you are from the Feng Shui family and Two Monarch City? I didn't expect that not only did your clans survive, you even managed to break the curse of your bloodline? Sinners are sinners. Now, I'll give you a chance. Submit to this young master and atone for your sins. This young master will spare your lives. Zhang Xian looked at Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji with a trace of surprise in his eyes. He spoke in a condescending tone, like a divine dragon looking down on ants. In Zhang Xian's opinion, the Feng Shui family and Two Monarch City deserved to die. They should be grateful that he gave them a chance to live. Submit to you? Who do you think you are? Even if you're the old ancestor of the god-burying clan, you think you're worthy of us submitting to you? Li Chunfeng sneered with a trace of arrogance in his eyes. After knowing the origin of the Feng Shui family, he also knew that in the divine world, when the Feng Shui family was at its peak, even sages didn't dare to be presumptuous. How could a mere god-burying clan make him submit to them? Li Chunfeng was the head of the Feng Shui family. If he returned to the divine world, he would be the head of the Feng Shui family. Naturally, he had his own pride. Although Mu Tianji did not say anything, the mockery in his eyes was obvious. Obviously, he also felt that Zhang Xian was not worthy of them submitting to him. Zhang Xian's face instantly darkened. The Feng Shui family and Two Monarch City are sinners of the divine world, and should have been exterminated. This young master, I gave you a chance. Since that's the case, then all of you can die. Kill them. Zhang Xian said coldly as a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. So Feng Shui to him. Even if they had a glorious past, they were now nothing more than a bunch of ants. To Zhang of Zhang Xian's be it. 2. The heavens and earth trembled as the two aged figures exuded an exceedingly eerie aura. They were like ghost kings from the 9 nether hells, cold and dark, exuding an eerie ghostly aura. Their withered hands were akin to ghost claws, grabbing towards Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji respectively. Stop them. Once Lord Ling Xiao succeeds in his tribulation, they will all die. Li Chunfeng's expression changed slightly as he said with a solemn expression. He stomped his foot, causing the ground to rumble and the void to tremble. Streaks of chi of heaven and earth surged out, mixing with the blazing divine light and shooting into the sky. Li Chunfeng's body turned blurry in an instant. The surrounding mountains trembled, as if they had turned into numerous earth dragons, violently shaking. The chi of heaven and earth and the resplendent divine light were hazy in all directions, blurring everything and making it impossible to see. The power of a Feng Shui family is indeed extraordinary. It's a pity that they are still too weak. Zhang Xian looked at them in surprise. However, he didn't make a move. Li Chunfeng used the power of the Earth Dragon Vein to set up a vast Feng Shui killing array. It instantly enveloped the two old men. Mu Tianji's eyes flashed. He formed a seal with both hands. Streams of black light shot into the Feng Shui killing array. They contained terrifying energy waves. Rumble. A violent explosion sounded. The black ball of light seemed to contain some kind of destructive power that wanted to completely kill the two old men. When Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji worked together, they actually managed to unleash a terrifying amount of power. Gotcha. However, the strength of the two old men was terrifying. The black light around them surged, and the explosive energy couldn't do anything to them. Instead, their ghostly claws tore through the void and shredded the Xianhuang Qi into pieces. When the heavens unleash their killing intent, the stars move. When the earth unleashes its killing intent, dragons and snakes rise. When the humans unleash their killing intent, the heavens and earth turn upside down. When the heavens and humans unite, everything changes. Li Chunfeng looked solemn as he muttered something under his breath. The surrounding void started to tremble violently. The laws of heaven and earth seemed to have been triggered by him. The mountains trembled violently. Even the divine caverns in the surroundings began to suppress the two old men. The feng shui killing array seemed to be giving birth to a world that was about to be destroyed. The heavens and earth turned upside down, the stars moved, and all living beings cried out in grief. This kind of power made Mingyu's eyes turn solemn. He could feel that if he were to fall into the feng shui killing array, he would be reduced to ashes in an instant. He wouldn't be able to withstand the power of heaven and earth. Just this feng shui killing array alone gave Li Chunfeng the strength to fight against a godly spirit expert. Unfortunately, the two old men weren't ordinary godly spirits. If Ling Xiao was here, he would be able to tell that the two old men had already reached the peak of the godly spirit realm. It was just that they had stayed in the mortal realm for too long. The divine energy in their bodies had deteriorated, and they could only unleash the strength of a late-stage godly spirit realm expert. Even so, it was still extremely terrifying. Rumble. The two old men exuded extremely terrifying fluctuations. They instantly soared into the sky. Their hands were like giant pillars that could hold up the sky. In an instant, they tore apart the feng shui killing formation. The mountains that were coming at them were also shattered by them. The two old men's eyes were incomparably cold as they charged towards Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji both smiled bitterly. The gap between their cultivation bases was simply too great. If both of them were able to attain the heavenly divinity, they might still stand a chance against DMO. But now, all their attacks couldn't do any damage to the two old men. Boom! At this moment, the vast sea of lightning in the void seemed to have exploded. Thick bolts of lightning shot through the void, turning the entire divine cavern into a world of lightning. Just as the two old men were about to reach Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji, a vast lightning bolt descended from the sky. It was extremely bright and resplendent, suppressing the two old men. Chapter 1131. Kaboom! Dazzling lightning exploded, and the two elders from the God-burying clan trembled violently. Lightning flashed as they were sent flying. The lightning that filled the sky dissipated, and a figure shrouded in blazing lightning appeared in front of everyone. He finally succeeded. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji sucked in a deep breath of air as excitement flickered in their eyes. Dual God Stage, Ling Zhao's physical body and divine force were both godly. Ling Zhao's true strength could be said to be unrivaled in the divine spirit realm. Ling Zhao's body glowed with golden light, and his black hair danced in the wind. His entire person exuded an invincible and mysterious aura. He looked extraordinarily handsome, and his body glowed. His body was slender and strong, and he exuded an ancient dragon's aura. His eyes were bright and sharp, like two divine swords that pierced through the void. In the sea of lightning tribulation, the shadows of the 9 emperors were all torn apart by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had comprehended part of the martial will of the 9 emperors, and with his invincible physical body and engulfing divine sea, he had killed all of the 9 emperors and devoured and absorbed part of their laws. To Ling Xiao, this was an unimaginable benefit, and it meant that his path of divine Tao had become wider. After attaining the dual God stage, the engulfing divine sea was unparalleled, and it could maintain the divine force in Ling Zhao's body at a very high level at all times. It was only now that Ling Xiao was able to fully unleash the 4 elephants striking the heavens without suffering too much of a backlash. More importantly, through the battle with the 9 emperors, Ling Xiao discovered many mysterious uses of martial arts, especially the measurement of strength and combat strength. It was just like the saying of martial artists in the mortal world, for tails can defeat 1,000 caddies. He could use less strength to defeat his opponent. For example, right now, Ling Xiao had merely unleashed the battle prowess of a titled supreme being, yet it was enough to kill a godly spirit realm master. You are Ling Xiao? There was a flash of light in Zhang Xian's eyes as he revealed a curious and passionate expression. He could feel that Ling Xiao's body exuded an extremely dangerous aura, which meant that Ling Xiao's combat strength was extremely strong. God-bearing clan? If I remember correctly, I don't have any enmity with the God-bearing clan, right? If you leave now, I won't kill you. Ling Xiao glanced at Zhang Xian and said calmly, "No enmity? Ling Xiao, you killed so many people from Emperor Tomb Mountain, causing many of my God-bearing race's plans to go to waste. Is this not called enmity? If my guess is correct, the wordless heavenly book should be in your hands, right? Hand it over and submit to me. I can spare your life." Zhang Xian did not seem to have any self-awareness as he looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. Wordless heavenly book? So your God-bearing clan also came for the wordless heavenly book. Since that's the case, I have no choice but to kill all of you. Ling Xiao said calmly as if he was stating a fact, but the murderous intent in his voice made people shudder. According to what Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji had said, since the God-bearing race had appeared, they must have suspected that the wordless heavenly book was in Ling Xiao's possession. Naturally, they wouldn't let Ling Xiao off. The God-bearing race probably had the same idea as the celestial race. They were both eyeing the wordless heavenly book on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao did not deny it. After all, he had used the textless heavenly book many times. To others, the textless heavenly book was no secret. Kill all of us? Pa. Ling Xiao, you're really arrogant. Do you think that after becoming a god, you have the right to be arrogant in front of this young master? Let's not talk about whether you can kill this young master. Even if you can kill me, my God-bearing race's old ancestor will not let you off. Ling Xiao, don't waste your time. You've already become the target of everyone. The celestial race and the sorcerer race are all eyeing the wordless heavenly book on you. If you hand over the wordless heavenly book and submit to this young master will definitely protect your life. In the future, I'll even bring you into the realm of the gods. Zhang Xian laughed coldly, his eyes filled with disdain. Although Ling Xiao was very strong, he didn't believe that Ling Xiao could kill him and the two powerhouses from the God-bearing clan by himself. Moreover, this was the God-bearing cave, the land of the God-bearing race. If Ling Xiao made any strange moves, the old ancestor would not let him off. The ignorant are truly fearless. In my eyes, you're just a bunch of ants. As for the old ancestor you mentioned, I really want to see how much strength he has left after 1,000,000 years. Ling Xiao said indifferently, his eyes filled with a strong fighting spirit. According to Zhu Ganglai, even a god-level expert only had a lifespan of 1,000,000 years. The celestial race's heavenly king and the old ancestor of the god-bearing race were probably old monsters who had lived for more than 1,000,000 years. Now, they did not have much lifespan left. Therefore, even if the old ancestor of the god-bearing race had the strength of a true god, Ling Xiao was not afraid. Arrogant. Then this young master wants to see what qualifications you have to be so arrogant. Zhang Xian laughed coldly, his eyes revealing a cold, killing intent. Buzz. A light flashed in his hand, and in an instant, a black ancient cauldron floated above his head. It contained an ancient and mysterious aura, and its divine power was vast. It seemed to be intertwined with his entire body. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Zhang Xian's strength was not even comparable to the two old men of the god-bearing race. However, since he dared to fight Ling Xiao, he probably relied on this ancient cauldron. The black ancient cauldron was heavy and mysterious. It emitted a desolate and barren fluctuation as if it wanted to bury heaven and earth in this ancient cauldron. The sky-bearing cauldron, the treasure of the sky-bearing race, contained an extremely terrifying power. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could almost instantly confirm that this sky-bearing cauldron was not the slightest bit inferior to the demon saint's scepter. The sky-bearing cauldron was also a god-king weapon. No wonder Zhang Xian was so confident. Kill! Zhang Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent as he punched towards Ling Xiao. At the same time, wisps of black mist escaped from the sky-bearing cauldron and attached to his fist, causing his fist to contain an extremely terrifying fluctuation. Ling Xiao's expression was calm. Even with the sky-bearing cauldron, he did not take Zhang Xian seriously at all. After all, the gap between them was too great. Moreover, no matter how strong the sky-bearing cauldron was, this was the mortal world. The power of a god-king weapon was suppressed. Moreover, with Zhang Xian's cultivation, he could not fully activate the sky-bearing cauldron. Rumble! Ling Xiao punched out and a resplendent fist mark erupted, containing an indestructible power. When the two fists collided, the air trembled violently. Zhang Xian's expression changed abruptly. He felt a power that could destroy everything coming at him. It broke through his fist almost instantly. It wanted to kill him with one punch. Buzz! The sky-bearing cauldron shone with a dense light as if a layer of black barrier had enveloped Zhang Xian. Even though Ling Xiao's punch was incomparably terrifying, it could not do anything to Zhang Xian in the end. It was as if it had struck the void. That layer of barrier trembled slightly, but in the end, it still managed to block Ling Xiao's punch. Chapter 1132. Clang. The heaven-bearing cauldron trembled slightly and emitted a clear sound. It emitted an ancient and mysterious fluctuation, causing the space to tremble violently. Black divine light filled the air and turned into sharp rays of light that pierced towards Ling Xiao. Boom! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. He raised his 5 fingers to the sky and mysterious runes spurted out from his palm. His palm print covered the sky and instantly shattered the divine light emitted by the burying sky cauldron. Swoosh! Ling Xiao was extremely fast. His entire body was shrouded in golden light as he punched towards Zhang Xian. The golden fist imprint contained an indestructible power. Ling Xiao activated his physical strength to the extreme, and the power of the war god flowed through his entire body. His divine dragon body also erupted with a vast and terrifying dragon's might, causing this fist to contain a power that could steal one's soul. In the god's test, the battle between Ling Xiao and the 9 emperors had benefited him a lot. Especially the great emperor with the invincible fist intent. That kind of state where all living beings would grieve and heaven and earth would shatter with a single punch made him unconsciously integrated into his own fist principle. Zhang Xian's eyes revealed a trace of horror. Facing Ling Xiao's punch, he felt as though he was facing the ancestor of the god-burying clan. Even with the burying sky cauldron, he still felt a fatal murderous intent. It was as though all his attacks were useless against Ling Xiao. Zhang Xian could only desperately pour the divine power in his body into the burying sky cauldron and activate the power of the burying sky cauldron to block Ling Xiao's punch. Buzz! The burying sky cauldron shone brightly and the ancient runes lit up. Dark light filled the air and the mouth of the cauldron spewed out a black mist as though it was going to devour heaven and earth. Boom! Ling Xiao's punch landed on the burying sky cauldron. Suddenly, an extremely blazing divine light storm erupted. The void trembled violently and the runes on the burying sky cauldron exploded. This punch was incomparably fierce and invincible. It contained an invincible fist intent that could destroy everything. Even though Zhang Xian hid under the burying sky cauldron and used the power of the burying sky cauldron to block Ling Xiao's punch, part of the invincible divine power still passed through. Zhang Xian was dizzy and his entire body trembled violently. I'd like to see if your tortoise shell can protect you. Ling Xiao's entire body exuded an unparalleled battle intent. Golden divine light shot up into the sky, and he punched out again. Zhang Xian did not seem to be able to resist Ling Xiao's attack at all. He could only use the power of the heaven-burying cauldron to block Ling Xiao's attack. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji's eyes flashed with surprise and excitement. Ling Xiao's strength was getting more and more unfathomable. If Ling Xiao's physical body had become a god, he would have been like a god of war in their eyes. His battle prowess would be unparalleled. However, the current Ling Xiao was like a vast ocean whose depth could not be seen. It made them unable to even feel a shred of battle intent. The two old men from the god-burying clan were also shocked. Ling Zhao's formidable strength caused their scalps to tingle. However, Zhang Xian's identity was too important. They couldn't let anything happen to Zhang Xian, so they could only brace themselves. Ling Xiao, don't be so arrogant. An old and cold voice rang out. The two old men from the god-burying clan pounced towards Ling Xiao at the same time. Black light rose from their bodies, forming a domain of darkness. Numerous python-like chains shot towards Ling Xiao. The two of them had seen how terrifying Ling Xiao was. Hence, they could only hope to trap Ling Xiao for a moment. Numerous black chains surged, densely packed together. It was unknown how many there were, but they wanted to completely trap Ling Xiao. Boom! At the same time, Ling Xiao's fist landed on the heaven-bearing cauldron. Resplendent divine light erupted once again. Feeling the aura of the two old men from the god-burying clan behind him, Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. He welcomed the black chains that filled the sky, not bothering to dodge at all. At the same time, a golden flame rose from Ling Xiao's palm. It contained an aura that could swallow everything. This was the heaven-swallowing divine fire. After Ling Xiao's heaven-swallowing secret technique condensed the heaven-swallowing divine sea, the heaven-swallowing divine fire had also transformed into the heaven-swallowing divine fire. The heaven-swallowing divine fire could burn anything. It could burn rivers and boil seas. It was terrifying to the extreme. In an instant, it turned into a vast sea of flames that enveloped the two old men from the god-burying clan. The black chains that filled the sky were formed from the power of the god-burying clan within their bodies. But when they encountered the heaven-swallowing divine fire, it was as if they had met their nemesis. They instantly began to burn, turning into ashes in an instant. As for the heaven-swallowing divine fire, it followed the aura of the god-burying clan's power. As if it had a mind of its own, it spread towards the two old men from the god-burying clan. What? Feeling the terrifying power of the heaven-swallowing divine fire, the two old men from the god-burying clan's complexion changed. They felt the threat of death. Without thinking, they directly shot away. You want to leave? You'd better stay here. Ling Zhao's eyes were indifferent. Although the two old men from the god-burying clan possessed extraordinary strength, the power of the god-burying clan was originally restrained by the heaven-swallowing divine fire. When they encountered Ling Xiao, it was as if they had met their nemesis. Ling Zhao's figure was like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, he appeared in front of the two old men from the god-burying clan and punched out. The two old men's complexions changed. But that incomparably fierce fist had already arrived in front of them. There was no way for them to dodge. They could only stimulate the strength of their bodies to resist with all their might. Bang! A golden fist broke out, and the two old men from the god-burying race were sent flying by Ling Zhao's fist. Their arms exploded into a bloody mist, and they were sent flying several thousand feet away, falling into the sea of fire formed by the heaven-swallowing divine fire. The heaven-swallowing divine fire instantly enveloped the two old men. Moreover, when the power of the god-burying clan within their bodies encountered the heaven-swallowing divine fire, it was like oil had been poured onto a fire. It burned even more fiercely. Ah! The two old men from the god-burying clan let out incomparably miserable cries. They tumbled in the sea of flames, but they were unable to escape the burning of the heaven-swallowing divine fire. The miserable cries caused Zhang Xian's scalp to tingle. His eyes were filled with incomparable horror. Ling Xiao, do you really want to become enemies with my god-burying clan? Release the two elders and I can let you leave here. Zhang Xian's expression was ugly as he shouted at Ling Xiao. Become enemies with your god-burying clan? From the moment you coveted the wordless heavenly book in my possession, we were already irreconcilable. Ling Xiao coldly smiled, his eyes full of ridicule. Killing intent flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He didn't care about Zhang Xian's murderous gaze at all. His palm shone brightly, and a palm blade chopped down. Immediately, the two old men were split into four halves. The heaven-swallowing divine fire swept over them, instantly swallowing their primordial spirits and godheads. Boundless divine power essence poured into Ling Zhao's body. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit was already incomparably powerful, especially after refining the primordial spirits and godheads of so many demon gods. However, the primordial spirits and godheads of these two old men from the god-bearing clan made Ling Zhao's primordial spirit even more solid and pure. Chapter 1133. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. Zhang Xian's face was extremely gloomy and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. He did not expect that in the God Burial Cave, in the territory of the God Burial Clan, Ling Xiao would dare to kill two divine spirits of the God Burial Clan. The two elders of the God Burial Clan were lucky survivors of the war 1,000,000 years ago. In the entire God Burial Clan, there were not many divine spirit experts like them. Buzz. At this moment, the sky-burying cauldron shone brightly. Zhang Xian silently chanted and a mysterious and terrifying figure appeared in the void. It was a middle-aged man in black armor. He was heroic and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His body was strong and he exuded a powerful aura. He was enveloped in black divine light. His eyes were extremely sharp and contained an indifferent and cold expression. He was extremely aggressive. He looked at Ling Xiao indifferently as if he was looking at an ant. Greetings, ancestor. He is Ling Xiao. The textless heavenly book is with him. He killed two elders of the God Burial Clan. Ancestor, please kill him. When Zhang Xian saw the middle-aged man appear, his eyes were filled with fanaticism and respect. He knelt down and bowed. You are Ling Xiao? The ancestor of the God Burial Clan looked at Ling Xiao indifferently with a strange look in his eyes. You are the ancestor of the God Burial Clan? You are just a clone. If you don't want to die, let your real body come. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he said calmly. He could feel that the ancestor of the God Burial Clan in front of him was just a spirit clone that was attached to the sky-burying cauldron. It was not the real body of the ancestor of the God Burial Clan. However, even if it was just a divine clone, its strength was still extremely terrifying. It far surpassed the two old men from the God-bearing clan and Zhang Xian. Ling Xiao could feel that the power of this divine clone had probably reached the peak of the divine spirit realm. Young man, you are really arrogant. Do you think that you are worthy of the ancestor's real body appearing? The ancestor of the God Burial Clan was not angry. Instead, he smiled faintly. It is not up to you to decide whether I am worthy or not. I don't want to waste my breath on you. If you want to get the wordless heavenly book, then let's see if you have the ability. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. Young man, I don't want to bully you. How about this? As long as you can take 3 of my moves, I'll let you go. How about that? If you can't even take 3 of my moves, then you don't deserve to have a treasure like the wordless heavenly book. The old ancestor of the God-burying clan said indifferently. 3 moves? Very good. Then let me experience the ultimate techniques of the God-burying race. A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes as he agreed. He could feel that the old ancestor of the God-burying clan was a character with monstrous strength. After all, to be able to survive the great calamity 1,000,000 years ago was not something an ordinary person could do. Since they were destined to be enemies, it would be good to use this clone of the God-burying clan's old ancestor to test his true strength. Moreover, through the battle with the old ancestor of the God-burying clan, Ling Xiao could also see the true strength of the deities in the other forbidden lands, such as the experts of the heavenly human tribe and the sorcerer tribe. No matter what the old ancestor of the God-burying clan was scheming, Ling Xiao did not care. The moment the old ancestor of the God-burying race appeared, Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji jumped in fright. They were afraid that Ling Xiao wouldn't be a match for him. But when they saw that it was just a clone, they were able to relax for the time being. Do you think Ling Xiao can take 3 of Zhang Su's moves? Li Chunfeng secretly transmitted his voice to Mu Tianji. It shouldn't be a problem. It is just a clone. With Ling Xiao's current combat strength, it is not impossible for him to kill Zhang Su's clone. What we should be more worried about is the combat strength of Zhang Su's real body. Mu Tianji's eyes flashed as he said slowly. If the clone goes all out, it should be able to unleash the true combat strength of the original body. Let's see if Ling Xiao can force Zhang Su to use his true strength. Let's hope so. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji looked at Ling Xiao and Zhang Su, who were in the void, with anticipation in their eyes. Young man, you are indeed courageous. I heard that your physical body is extremely strong. Let's have a taste of this move of mine, the Skyfall Hammer. Zhang Su's eyes revealed a trace of admiration as he said slowly, "Rumble." As soon as he finished speaking, the void began to tremble violently. Lightning flashed as he raised his hand and formed a fist seal. The primordial chaos was unparalleled. It was like a giant hammer that reached the heavens, smashing down on Ling Xiao from the 9 heavens. Ling Xiao's gaze turned serious. This fist seemed to have merged with the heavens and earth. As the Skyfall Hammer came down, the primordial chaos was boundless. It contained an unstoppable force, as if it wanted to shatter everything into dust. The Skyfall Hammer gave Ling Xiao an illusion. It was as if the great emperor from the deity's tribulation had come back to life. The invincible fist intent that could destroy everything was very similar to it. However, when Zhang Su executed it, it was obviously a little sluggish. The realm of his fist intent was also much lower. Could it be that this Skyfall Hammer was the martial art of that great emperor? Ling Xiao became excited when he thought of this. If he could obtain the martial arts technique of the great emperor, it would definitely make his path to the divine path more solid. Kill. Ling Xiao did not have time to think. He immediately focused his mind and divine power rose around him. Dragon power filled the air and he also threw a punch at Zhang Su. 1,000 dragons god-slaying skill. Above Ling Xiao's fist seal, golden light shone brightly. 10,000 dragons rose and 49 7-colored divine dragons moved unhindered. They covered the sky and pounced on Zhang Su. Ling Xiao could feel that the 1,000 dragons god-slaying skill was not as powerful as the Skyfall Hammer. However, it was superior in that Ling Xiao's physical body had become a god and was recognized by the heavenly Tao. It had an almost invincible force, which made his punch equally ferocious. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled violently as the 2 fist seals suddenly collided. Blazing divine light gushed out. The 49 7-colored divine dragons were actually blasted apart by the Skyfall Hammer. However, Ling Xiao's fist intent contained an unyielding and invincible fluctuation. In the end, it was destroyed along with the Skyfall Hammer. Ling Xiao and Zhang Su both trembled and were sent flying back at the same time. However, Ling Xiao was only sent flying by a dozen steps while Zhang Su was sent flying by more than 300 meters. It was obvious that Ling Xiao had the upper hand. Has his physical body become a god? Powerful indeed. A sharp light flashed in Zhang Su's eyes and he revealed a trace of amazement. Previously, there had been news that Ling Xiao's physical body had become a god. However, he did not believe it. After all, it was very difficult to achieve this even in the deity's realm, let alone in a mere mortal world. Chapter 1134. Zhang Su's Skyfall Hammer was a peerless fist technique that he had obtained from an ancient ruin. It was a pity that he only had this move and did not obtain the complete martial art's true meaning. Moreover, if he wanted to cultivate it to perfection, he would have to become a god with his physical body. Unfortunately, he did not become a god physically, so he had only cultivated the Skyfall Hammer to the greater success stage. However, 1,000,000 years ago, he had used the Skyfall Hammer to kill countless extraterritorial devils. It was extremely terrifying. Although Zhang Su's clone only had the strength of a peak divine spirit realm expert, once the Skyfall Hammer was used, even an ordinary peak divine spirit realm expert would be killed directly. However, not only was Ling Xiao not injured, but he also broke the Skyfall Hammer and gained the upper hand. Very good. Next is the second move, God-burying annihilating light. Zhang Su's eyes flickered as he began to look at Ling Xiao seriously. Boom! Black divine light rose around him. It was as vast as the sea, causing the surrounding void to begin to tremble. Wisps of black mist rose as if the sky had turned into a world of darkness. Divine power surged around Zhang Su's body. The dazzling divine light covered the sky and covered the earth as it enveloped Ling Xiao. God-burying annihilating light was a divine light formed by burying a god's power. It could wipe out a person's physical body, primordial spirit, fate, and even all traces of existence. Zhang Su knew that Ling Xiao had become a god physically, so he used the god-bearing annihilating light to target Ling Xiao's primordial spirit, wanting to completely wipe him out. It's actually the god-bearing annihilating light? This is the ancestor's ultimate move. Ling Xiao is dead this time. Zhang Xian's eyes revealed a trace of shock as he spoke with incomparable excitement. As a member of the god-bearing clan, he naturally knew how terrifying the god-bearing annihilating light was. Ling Xiao's physical body had become a god, but his primordial spirit was probably still a weakness. He would not be able to withstand this move at all. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt a stabbing pain between his brows. Before the god-bearing annihilating light arrived, his brows were already on the verge of exploding. Devouring divine sea, devour! Ling Xiao's entire body glowed with golden light as he soared into the sky. A vast heaven-devouring divine ocean appeared behind him, transforming into an incomparably blazing devouring vortex. The sky-devouring secret skill was ranked 14th among the Heaven Star secret skills. It was extremely powerful and even more miraculous than the ancestral dragon secret skill. Especially after Ling Xiao formed the sky-devouring divine sea, it could be said that there was nothing it couldn't devour. Although the god burial light extinguishing light was also extremely terrifying, it was still only an extremely condensed energy in front of the heaven-devouring secret technique. Rumble! The devouring heaven divine sea was incomparably vast, shrouding everything around Ling Xiao. Endless god-burying exterminating light fell on the devouring heaven divine sea, bursting out a dazzling radiance. It was like a giant wave soaring to the sky, causing the devouring heaven divine sea to tremble violently. However, the heaven-devouring divine sea contained a power fluctuation that could devour everything. In the end, it still devoured all of the god burial light. Sky-devouring secret technique? You really did obtain the wordless heavenly book? To be able to cultivate the heaven-devouring secret technique to such a level, I'm afraid your divine power laws have already proven your Tao and become a god, right? Dual God Realm, your talent is indeed very strong. Zhang Su's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of shock. He naturally knew what the dual god realm meant. With Ling Xiao's terrifying talent and the power of the wordless heavenly book, he would be another Scarlet Dragon war god in the future. Zhang Su almost could not suppress the killing intent in his heart. However, when he thought of the plan, he forcibly suppressed the killing intent in his heart. Ling Xiao, take my third move. If you can take this move, I'll spare your life today. Zhang Su's eyes were indifferent as he suddenly roared, Heaven-burying cauldron, heaven-burying realm. Rumble! The void in all directions began to shake violently. Under Zhang Su's control, the heaven-burying cauldron blazed with light and instantly soared into the sky. With the mouth of the cauldron facing downwards, a blazing black light rose up, turning into a vast world of darkness. Strands of god-burying power spread out, instantly causing the world to turn dark, the surroundings trembled, and all the light disappeared. He couldn't even see his own fingers. Only the coldest killing intent stimulated Ling Xiao's nerves. The heaven-burying cauldron overturned, turning into a dark heaven-burying realm. It wanted to swallow all life and light and bury all things. In the heaven-burying realm, Ling Xiao seemed to have been stripped of his senses and senses. It was as if he had fallen into eternal loneliness and darkness. Even though Ling Xiao knew that this was the power of the heaven-burying cauldron that Zhang Su had used, that strange feeling still made him feel a little afraid. Everyone would feel fear. Even the most powerful gods would feel fear. However, the difference was whether you could overcome this fear, face it head-on, or even use it. Although Ling Xiao could feel that instinctive fear, he did not suppress it. He knew that fear could make him more clear-headed and sense where the danger was. Rumble! A sharp light suddenly flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. It was as if a blazing sword light had broken through the endless darkness. He instantly soared into the sky and then blasted a fist towards the darkness before him. Yellow, black, cyan, and red divine lights instantly soared into the sky, making this dark world seem to have a mysterious color. Then, Ling Zhao's fist became more and more blazing, containing the power to destroy everything. The divine lights of the 4 divisions gathered into chaos, giving this fist a strange power to return to chaos and destroy the world. 4 divisions heaven striking style. Kacha. As if some kind of barrier had been opened, the darkness in front of him was instantly torn apart. Then, endless light shone in. Ling Zhao's fist fiercely slammed into the heaven-burying cauldron. Buzz. The heaven-burying cauldron emitted a mysterious fluctuation, causing the void to tremble. The terrifying fist intent exploded and blasted the heaven-burying cauldron hundreds of feet away. Ling Xiao had broken free. After Ling Xiao broke through the heaven-burying realm, Zhang Su seemed to have suffered a huge backlash. His entire figure became incomparably illusory. However, his eyes became brighter and brighter. Good. Very good. Ling Xiao, since you can take 3 of my moves, you are indeed qualified to inherit the Scarlet Dragon War God's legacy. Today, I will let you go. However, the next time we meet, don't blame me for being impolite. Zhang Su stared at Ling Xiao and said slowly, "Let me go? Since we are destined to be enemies, then both of you should stay here." A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. Zhang Su intended to let him go, but he did not intend to let Zhang Su go. Suddenly, the light around his body was dazzling. He instantly soared into the sky and pointed his finger like a sword. The sword light was extremely blazing and charged toward Zhang Su and Zhang Xian. "You don't have the strength to kill me." Chapter 1135. Rumble. Ling Zhao's sword also landed on the sky-bearing cauldron. The sword radiance was blazing and sharp, causing the sky-bearing cauldron to shine brightly. However, as it was a God-King weapon, Ling Xiao was still unable to break through its defense. Also, I'll give you a piece of news for free. If I'm not wrong, the real body of Demon God King Bo Sun is hidden in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land. The Heavenly Devil tribe in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land is massacring the living beings of the War God continent. They should be refining the Heavenly Devil altar to summon Demon God King Bo Sun back. If you're too late, I'm afraid you won't be able to stop them. Zhang Su's voice rang out in the void before he disappeared in front of Ling Xiao. However, Zhang Su's words caused Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji's bodies to tremble as a trace of seriousness appeared in their eyes. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Through the battle with Zhang Su's doppelganger, he could see Zhang Su's true strength. He was probably not much stronger than this doppelganger. Otherwise, he could have revealed his real body and killed Ling Xiao to snatch the wordless heavenly book. Now, it could only mean that Zhang Su was not confident in dealing with Ling Xiao. Do you think Zhang Su is telling the truth? Ling Xiao looked at Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji and asked calmly. It's hard to say whether Demon God King Bo Sun's real body is in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land. However, the Heavenly Devil tribe in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land has appeared and is massacring the living beings of the War God continent. We'll know once we check. It shouldn't be fake. However, I'm afraid Zhang Su is up to no good by telling us this. Li Chunfeng's eyes flashed as he said slowly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with wisdom as he said indifferently, "Of course I know Zhang Su is up to no good. If I'm not wrong, he probably wants me to fight Demon God King Bo Sun to the death so that he can reap the benefits." Mu Tianji's eyes widened as he nodded. "That's very likely. The God-burying tribe, the Heavenly Human tribe, the Sorcerer tribe and the other divine spirits of the Forbidden Lands are probably a bunch of cowards who are afraid of death. Otherwise, they wouldn't have survived the calamity a million years ago. They know how strong Demon God King Bo Sun is. They definitely don't have the confidence to face him. That's why they're sending you here." "That's right. If I hadn't been able to withstand Buried Void's 3 moves, he would have killed me and snatched the wordless heavenly book. His 3 moves were just a test. My strength has gained his recognition, so he probably wants me to fight against Demon God King Bo Sun. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given up on the wordless heavenly book so easily." Ling Xiao said calmly with a hint of mockery in his eyes. These godly spirits hiding in the forbidden grounds viewed the living beings of the War God continent as worthless. Even if they knew that the Sky Devil race was hunting living beings in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land, They didn't think of rescuing them. Instead, they wanted to scheme against Ling Xiao. In Ling Xiao's eyes, these immortals were no different from the devils of the outer realm. They all deserve to die. Then let's go quickly. If the Sky Devil clan really comes out, the experts of the War God continent won't be able to resist the demon god of the Sky Devil clan. I'm afraid it will be extremely dangerous. A hint of worry flashed across Li Chuanfeng's eyes. Let's go. Since Buried Void wants me and demon god King Bo Sun to perish together, why shouldn't I fulfill his wish? This time, I will kill all the demons in the Heavenly Devil ancient land. A cold, killing intent flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He instantly soared into the sky and flew out of the god burial cave. Li Chunfeng and Mu Tianji looked at each other and followed Ling Xiao out of the cave. In the 3 years that Ling Xiao was in seclusion, the entire War God continent was in turmoil. Especially when the Sky Devil race came out of the Heavenly Devil ancient land, they started a massacre on the War God continent. The 3 great demon gods of the Sky Devil clan had emerged. In the past few months, they had captured thousands of living beings of the human clan. Many sects had even been directly annihilated. The entire War God continent was in grief. Some people even went to the 8 great forbidden grounds to ask for help. Unfortunately, the godly spirits in the forbidden grounds didn't care about the lives of the people in the War God continent. Not a single one of them came to help. At this moment, everyone thought of Ling Xiao. If Ling Xiao appeared, he would definitely kill those evil demon gods and sweep the entire Heavenly Devil ancient land clean. Unfortunately, Ling Xiao hadn't appeared for 3 years. Even the longevity sect had disappeared without a trace. Ling Xiao returned to the longevity sect through the Heavenly Stone. Ling Xiao's exit made the longevity sect's disciples and his old friends very happy. This meant that Ling Xiao's strength had increased, and he had a lot more confidence in facing the extraterrestrial demons. However, what made Ling Xiao puzzled was that the old goat, Taoist Wuliang, Big Radish, and Longevity Grass had left the longevity sect. It was said that the old goat went to the holy ground to ask for help from the ancient demon race. If the ancient demon race was willing to help, they would have more confidence in fighting against the extraterrestrial demons. Taoist Wuliang, Big Radish, and Longevity Grass were also said to have gone to seek help and train. In these 3 years, the cultivation of the disciples of the longevity sect had increased by leaps and bounds. Many of the genius disciples' cultivation showed signs of a blowout after receiving sufficient resources. This was especially true for Ling Xiao's 7 direct disciples. They originally possessed the power of the divine way. In these 7 years, their cultivation had almost reached the peak of the sovereign realm. They were only a sliver away from advancing to the divine realm. When they reached the divine realm, if they fused together to form the 7 evils gourd, it would definitely have the power to destroy heaven and earth. Cousin, the War God continent has been in complete chaos these few months. I want to exterminate those experts of the demon race. It's a pity that the old man and aunt won't let me out. Long Outyin rode on the fire Qilin and exuded a powerful dragon's aura. His eyes were filled with depression. The divine dragon bloodline in his body had been completely awakened and his cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds. Ling Xiao had also passed on the cultivation method of the divine dragon body to him. Ling Xiao even felt that Long Outyin would be the next person to become a god with his physical body. After all, this kid's talent was too strong. It's right to not let you out. With your current cultivation, the demon god can kill you with one slap. Ling Xiao glared at him in exasperation. Cousin, are we just going to let those demon bastards be arrogant? If this continues, I'm afraid the entire war god world will be destroyed in their hands. Long Outyin said anxiously. Chapter 1136. Uncle, you're right. The Heavenly Fiend tribe captured humans to use their flesh and blood to forge the Heavenly Fiend altar and summon the demon god King Bo Sun. So, I've come back this time to wipe out the entire Heavenly Fiend ancient land. Ling Xiao's eyes glinted as he spoke calmly. All right, Xiao, you're right. We have to take the initiative to attack. No matter what the Heavenly Fiend tribe is up to, we can't let them succeed. Right at this moment, A hearty and clear laughter sounded. Long Hanyan and Ling Zhen walked in side by side. Long Hanyan's face was filled with a blissful smile. Her smile was like a flower. Ling Zhen, who was beside her, was tall and handsome. He was dressed in a white robe. Although his white hair was fluttering in the wind, his eyes shone brightly and he was in high spirits. He was very handsome and elegant. "Mother, father?" Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of surprise. Speaking of which, this was his first official meeting with Ling Zhen. Previously, Ling Zhen had always appeared as the divine general of time. When Ling Xiao discovered his true identity, he had been heavily injured because he had used the Sutra of Time to help Ling Xiao deal with the left and right heavenly lords. After seeing Ling Zhen, Ling Xiao immediately felt a sense of closeness as if they were related by blood. It even made his eyes brim with tears. These were the parents who had raised him. Even if Ling Xiao was the heaven-devouring supreme who dominated the world in his previous life, he was still the son of Long Hanyan and Ling Zhen. "Good lad, well done." Ling Zhen patted Ling Zhao's shoulder heavily. His eyes were filled with satisfaction and pride. Ling Zhen recalled the first time he met Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was only at the monarch realm. Ling Zhen had always been worried about whether Ling Xiao could face a colossus like the War God Hall. Who would have thought that in just a few years, Ling Xiao would not only destroy the War God Hall, but also become a god and become the strongest expert in the entire War God continent. Although he knew that Ling Xiao was the heaven-devouring supreme in his previous life, it didn't affect Ling Zhen's mood at all. "Father, it seems like you've recovered from your injuries." Ling Xiao looked at Ling Zhen with a smile in his eyes. At this moment, Ling Zhen could be said to have broken through to the titled Supreme Realm. His aura was extremely majestic, and even his life source was extremely abundant. "I'm fine. However, I'm proud of you to see that you've surpassed me. However, with great power comes great responsibility. I believe that you will definitely be able to wipe out the Outer Realm demons and bring peace to the War God world." Ling Zhen's eyes were filled with anticipation and pride. "Father, don't worry, the heavenly fiend race, I will destroy the heavenly fiend ancient land this time." Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with determination. "Big brother, I'll go with you this time. Isn't it just a bunch of demons? I'll annihilate all of them." The white dragon horse said nonchalantly. Its eyes were full of pride. Cousin, you have to bring me along this time. Those bastards should have died long ago." I long dragon, I long Tion. Long dragon long Outyin said hurriedly. However, Long Lai glared at him and even gave him a kick on the chestnut. He was in so much pain that tears welled up in his eyes. Everyone laughed when they saw this. Ling Zhao's 7 true disciples, Mu Linfeng, Lu Jianyi, and the rest, all volunteered to go with Ling Xiao to conquer the heavenly fiend ancient land. These 7 fellows had been reborn. Not only were their bodies much younger, but their temperaments had also become like that of a child. They hung around with Long Outyin and liked to mess around. They wanted to see the world in chaos. In an instant, the Longevity Hall was bustling with noise and excitement. Ling Xiao felt a little helpless. "Master, you've reached the Double God Realm. I'm afraid it'll be extremely difficult for you to reach the Triple God Realm. However, I've recently discovered a treasure that might be able to help you." Zhu Ganglai suddenly said to Ling Xiao mysteriously. "Oh, what treasure?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Master, please follow me." Zhu Ganglai chuckled and kept Ling Xiao in suspense. He then brought Ling Xiao to the back of the Longevity Mountain. That was the place where the Path Understanding tree grew. It was also the forbidden area of the Longevity sect. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He did not know why Zhu Ganglai would bring him to the Path Understanding tree, but he still followed Zhu Ganglai. The Path Understanding tree had now become a towering ancient tree with luxuriant leaves. Its crown was like a dome, covering the sky and emitting a mysterious aura. The entire Longevity Gate was enveloped by this mysterious aura and became tranquil and flawless. Everyone felt refreshed and their minds were clear. Even the most common inner demons disappeared. The Path Understanding tree had now taken root in the depths of the Longevity boundary. Its leaves were luxuriant and there were even strange flowers blooming. The fragrance of the flowers was pleasant and refreshing. The path understanding tree was shrouded in a resplendent glow. It was sparkling and translucent, and its branches and leaves looked as if they were carved from jade. They were incomparably exquisite, and on each leaf, there were mysterious patterns that seemed to contain some kind of truth of heaven and earth. With Zhu Ganglie's qualifications, he originally did not have the chance to come here. However, Jin Se brought him here once, and he found a treasure here. Master, do you recognize this item? Zhu Ganglai brought Ling Xiao to the bottom of the path understanding tree. There was a fat bug lying on one of the path understanding leaves. Zhu Ganglai pointed at the bug and said, "At this moment, the insect seemed to be undergoing some kind of metamorphosis. Its entire body emitted a flickering light. Its body looked flawless and translucent, but there were 8 blood veins on its body. The 9th blood vein had also appeared, but it looked incomparably dim. This is the Heaven Men's silkworm?" Ling Zhao's eyes widened. He finally remembered the origin of this fat worm. This Heaven Men's silkworm was a treasure he cut out from an ancient stone in the Heavenly God City. Later on, he gave it to the old goat to bring back to the longevity sect. Ling Xiao didn't expect the Heaven Men's silkworm to be here. Moreover, Ling Xiao could see that the Heaven Men's silkworm's body was glowing. A layer of transparent shell seemed to be peeling off. The 2 thin and translucent wings were already showing their shape. This is evolving into a Heaven Men's divine butterfly? Ling Zhao's eyes trembled. Then he became extremely excited. This was the Heaven Men's divine butterfly. It was said that a flap of its wings could shake the heavens and destroy a world. It was a ferocious existence that could destroy billions of lives. However, Ling Xiao didn't expect that the Heaven Men's silkworm had only undergone its 8th transformation a dozen years ago. How could it become a Heaven Men divine butterfly so quickly? Could it be because of the path understanding tree? Ling Xiao stared at the path understanding tree in front of him with a hint of contemplation in his eyes. Chapter 1137. That's right. Master, the Heaven Men's silkworm is resting on the path understanding tree and has absorbed its aura. According to the old goat, the Grand Wisdom Monarch Ginseng and Longevity Grass also gave it 2 drops of divine liquid. That's why it's evolving so quickly. It's about to transform into a divine butterfly. Zhu Ganglie's eyes were also filled with excitement and amazement. The divine butterfly is a rare treasure in the God realm. It's said to have gone extinct in the ancient times. I didn't expect to see one here. Master, once the divine butterfly matures, it'll be able to tear apart a saint. Legend has it that it's comparable to an emperor. You've really found a treasure. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He didn't expect that the Heaven Men's silkworm he accidentally cut open would evolve into a divine butterfly. Even the legendary Old Man Skywatch didn't manage to cultivate one, but it was about to appear in Ling Zhao's hands. Is the divine butterfly really that powerful? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he slowly asked. Zhu Ganglai nodded. That's right. Master, the divine butterfly is said to have slaughtered dragons and true phoenixes during the ancient times. It's a supreme existence that could destroy the heavens with a flap of its wings. However, even if it's transformed into a divine butterfly, it's still in its infancy. As long as Master continues to nourish it with essence blood, it'll definitely be of great help to Master once it matures. The divine butterfly hasn't recognized a master yet. Others should be able to make it recognize a master, right? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at Zhu Ganglai. Master, you're not thinking of giving the divine butterfly away, are you? You can't do that. It's a waste to leave such a supreme treasure in the hands of others. Zhu Ganglai immediately became anxious and tried to persuade Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. You said it yourself. The divine butterfly in its infancy isn't very strong and won't be of much use to me. I plan to give it to Jince. Jince doesn't have any cultivation right now and I'm worried about her safety. With the divine butterfly protecting her, I can rest assured. Zhu Ganglai smiled bitterly with a complicated look in his eyes. In the demon race, he was used to seeing scheming against each other. Let alone a Dao partner, even parents and siblings could be killed. As a result, he did not understand why Ling Xiao would give the butterfly to Jin Se, but for some reason he felt a trace of respect in his heart. Perhaps, if he followed such a master, he wouldn't have to worry about being betrayed as cannon fodder one day, right? A juvenile divine skymend butterfly was not strong, but that was only when compared to a divine skymend butterfly at its peak. However, even a juvenile divine skymend butterfly had the battle prowess of a god. How could it not be strong? However, seeing how determined Ling Xiao was, Zhu Ganglai did not continue to persuade him. Ling Xiao left the back mountain and quickly brought Jin Se over. When she heard that Ling Xiao wanted the butterfly to recognize her as its master, Jin Se didn't agree. After all, in her opinion, Ling Xiao was about to face demon god King Bo Sun. The more help she had, the safer she would be. Jin Se, only when you are safe can I fight demon god King Bo Sun with peace of mind. And believe me, I will definitely kill Bo Sun and cure you of the 7-soul dissipating soul light poison. Ling Xiao looked seriously at Jin Se and said, I believe you. Big brother Ling Xiao, being able to see you again is already a gift from the heavens. If you live, I live. If you die, I will follow. Jin Se smiled like a flower and said softly. Her long eyelashes fluttered and her beautiful eyes were filled with gentleness. Although her voice was very gentle, it contained a determination that moved one's heart, causing Ling Xiao's heart to involuntarily tremble. Jin Se, don't worry. I won't die, and you won't die either. We will live for 10,000 years, 100 million years, until the end of time. I am still waiting for you to give birth to a pair of children for me. Ling Xiao hugged Jin Se tightly and whispered in her ear, afraid that Jin Se would disappear if he let go. Jin Se's pretty face was red, but her face was filled with happiness. Zhu Ganglai was very quiet at the side. Looking at the two in front of him hugging each other, his heart was filled with complex emotions and envy. In the eyes of many demons, humans were weak, fragile, and had a lot of boring emotions. They were only fit to be food for demons. But sometimes, Zhu Ganglai thought that it was because of those emotions that humans had that allowed them to become the epic lords of this era, to suppress the 3,000 realms and become the rulers of this world. Finally, under Zhu Ganglai and Ling Xiao's guidance, Jin Se's essence blood fused into the heaven-mend silkworm. Rumble! The heaven-mend silkworm emitted a resplendent light as if it had finally reached the critical point of evolution. In an instant, the 9th blood vein completely appeared and was clearly visible. The 9 blood veins were resplendent and like 9 divine chains of order, they instantly soared into the sky and contained a vast and mysterious power of laws. The heaven-mend silkworm began to tremble slightly. Its chubby and cute body emitted a majestic blood energy and ancient and mysterious ripple. It was as if an ancient divine beast had awakened, becoming monstrous and terrifying. Almost half of Jin Se's blood fused into the heaven-mend silkworm's body. She formed a seal with her hands and used her blood to draw an extremely mysterious rune in the void. Then, she suddenly imprinted it on the heaven-mend silkworm's body. Boom! The 9 blood veins were like 9 chains that bound the heaven-mend silkworm. They shone with a resplendent light and then all of them suddenly exploded. The heaven-mend silkworm floated in the void. The epiphany tree also danced in the wind. Mysterious rays of light fell down like pearls and poured into the heaven-mend silkworm's body. The heaven-mend silkworm violently twisted. When the light reached its peak, 2 transparent cicada wings broke free. The 9-colored light illuminated the void. It was extremely beautiful. The heaven-mend silkworm had completely transformed into a butterfly. It shone with 9-colored light and its aura was ancient and mysterious. A ferocious aura spread out as if it could break open the world. The heaven-mend butterfly had come into being. However, Jin Se could feel that there was a bloodline connection between her and the heaven-mend butterfly. She could feel the attachment and intimacy of the heaven-mend butterfly. She couldn't help but reach out her slender hand. The heaven-mend butterfly slightly trembled and gently flew into the air. The 9-colored light flowed in a beautiful and gentle manner. It directly landed in Jin Se's palm. The butterfly gently flapped its wings and divine light flowed. It looked very cute and beautiful. Chapter 1138. So beautiful. Jinsei's eyes were filled with joy. Women had no resistance to beautiful things like this, especially the divine sky-mending butterfly. It could be said to be a spirit that was blessed by heaven and earth. It was the darling of heaven and earth with peerless talent. However, things that were too perfect would easily attract the jealousy of heaven. Perhaps the divine sky-mending butterfly was the last one in this world. After all, evolving from a divine sky-mending silkworm to a divine sky-mending butterfly was too difficult. Buzz! The divine sky-mending butterfly circled around Jinsei once. In the end, it seemed to be tired and landed on Jinsei's hair like a 9-colored hairpin. It was very strange. Croak, croak, croak. At this time, the appearance of the divine sky-mending butterfly alarmed a fellow on the epiphany tree. It was a golden toad the size of a wash basin. Its eyes were extremely intelligent, and it looked at the divine sky-mending butterfly with a burning gaze. However, it seemed to be a bit fearful. It lay on the epiphany tree's branch and didn't dare to come down. 1,000-year scarlet toad? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. This was the 1,000-year scarlet toad he placed under the epiphany tree. However, he didn't expect it to turn into an auspicious beast with a powerful aura. At this moment, it was staring at Ling Zhao with its large eyes. Master, this is a treasure-seeking toad, an ancient beast. It can find treasures in the world and discern feng shui. It is no longer a simple 1,000-year scarlet toad. Zhu Ganglai explained from the side. He was also very surprised. Seeing the epiphany tree back then was enough to shock him. He didn't expect to find a divine sky-mending silkworm and a treasure-seeking toad on the tree. The 1,000-year-old vermilion toad originally possessed a trace of the treasure-hunting golden toad's bloodline. Over the years, it had absorbed the essence of heaven and earth under the epiphany tree, and because of the epiphany tree, it had unlocked the power of its bloodline and transformed into the treasure-hunting golden toad. The epiphany tree is indeed mysterious. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at the epiphany tree before him with a trace of emotion. The divine sky-mending silkworm transformed into a divine sky-mending butterfly, and the 1,000-year scarlet toad transformed into a treasure-seeking toad so quickly. Master, this epiphany tree is only a seedling. A fully mature epiphany tree is said to be millions of miles tall. It is said to be connected with heaven and earth and can give birth to 3,000 great worlds. And heaven and earth. It can even transform into a world tree. Zhu Ganglai said slowly. World tree? With God and demons. And legend had it that all Khanate spiritual roots were descendants of the world tree. In the God realm, there are many sacred grounds and sects that have strong natural spiritual roots. They give birth to a world and multiply life. It is very mysterious. Master, if the epiphany tree can grow, the Changsun sect may become one of those eternal sacred grounds in the God realm. Zhu Ganglai said slowly. Buzz. At this moment, the divine sky-mending butterfly on top of Jinsei's head spat out a pearl with 9 different colors. It looked very mysterious. It's the divine sky-mending pearl. Master, this last divine sky-mending pearl contains a mysterious power. It can let your primordial spirit transform rapidly. You can use your spiritual power to become a god. Zhu Ganglia's eyes lit up as he said excitedly. The supreme treasure he was talking about was the last heaven-mending pearl. The last heaven-mending pearl that the heaven-mending silkworm spat out when it transformed into the divine heaven-mending butterfly was even more mysterious than the previous 8 heaven-mending pearls. Ling Zhao had given the last divine sky-mending pearl to Li Chunfeng. It allowed him to recover to his peak in one fell swoop. As for the 9th divine sky-mending pearl, it was even more mysterious than the previous one. Brother Ling Zhao, quickly consume it. Only when you reach the triple god realm will you have the strength to fight against demon god King Bo Sun. Jinsei handed the divine sky-mending pearl to Ling Zhao and said with anticipation. Ling Zhao did not decline and took it. He could feel that the power within the divine sky-mending pearl was very beneficial to his primordial spirit. Even the treasure-hunting golden toad's eyes lit up when it saw the divine sky-mending pearl. It could not wait to pounce on it and snatch it away. Ling Xiao did not consume it directly. Instead, he kept it. I have a feeling that when I reach the triple god realm, there will be a terrifying lightning tribulation. I'll keep it for now. Maybe it can give demon god King Bo Sun a surprise. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as his eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. Zhu Ganglai couldn't help but shiver. He naturally knew what Ling Xiao was planning. If Ling Xiao were to undergo the divine tribulation when he reached the three gods' realm, Bo Sun Demon God King would also be targeted by the divine tribulation. At that time, Bo Sun Demon God King would definitely suffer a great loss. However, was Ling Xiao not afraid? In such a terrifying tribulation, coupled with Demon God King Bo Sun, Ling Xiao would probably die. However, Zhu Ganglai was tactful and did not ask. Ling Xiao and Jin Se left the back mountain and returned to Jin Se Pavilion. Jin Se Pavilion was currently the forbidden area of the entire longevity sect. All the disciples revered and worshipped this place because the two ancestors of the longevity sect resided here. Brother! When he returned to Jin Se Pavilion, a young girl in a white dress, who looked like she was carved out of jade, happily threw herself at Ling Xiao. Her eyes were filled with incomparable surprise. You're Luoluo? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He almost could not recognize Luoluo. Moreover, what made Ling Xiao's heart tremble was that Luoluo's appearance was becoming more and more like Shui Wei. In the reincarnation realm, Ling Xiao was almost certain that Shui Wei was the daughter of the first reincarnation saintess and Scarlet Dragon War God. However, who was Luoluo? Li Chunfeng had previously told Ling Xiao that Luoluo was indeed not his biological granddaughter. He had unintentionally dug her out from a sealed area. However, in Shui Wei's memory, the first reincarnation saintess and Scarlet Dragon War God only had one daughter. Therefore, Ling Xiao was even more suspicious of Luoluo's identity. Master, Luoluo should also be the daughter of Scarlet Dragon War God. Zhu Ganglai looked carefully at Luoluo and naturally knew what Ling Xiao was thinking. He transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. What? What did you see? Scarlet Dragon War God only has one daughter, Shui Wei. Chapter 1139. Zhu Ganglai explained, Master, you're right. The Scarlet Dragon War God and the first reincarnation saintess only have one daughter, and Shui Wei and Luoluo are probably the same person. Ling Xiao was shocked by Zhu Ganglai's words, and his eyes showed a trace of disbelief. How could two living people be the same person? Master, I experienced the war 1,000,000 years ago and saw the Scarlet Dragon War God with my own eyes. Luoluo has the Scarlet Dragon War God's bloodline and her aura is very similar to the Scarlet Dragon War God's. Shui Wei's aura is also very similar to the Scarlet Dragon War God's aura, so I have a guess. Luoluo is the original body, but after being sealed for 1,000,000 years, her body gave birth to intelligence and thoughts. Shui Wei is the primordial spirit, and after 1,000,000 years of reincarnation, she finally returned to the Samsara temple. So it's very likely that they are the same person. One is the primordial spirit. Zhu Ganglai said slowly. He was also shocked by this guess. What? Ling Xiao's eyes were shocked. He didn't expect Zhu Ganglai to give him such an explanation. How do you know so much? Zhu Ganglai, who are you? Ling Xiao's sharp eyes fell on Zhu Ganglai's face. Zhu Ganglai smiled bitterly and said, Master, I'm Zhu Ganglai. My life is in your hands. How can I lie to you? This is just a guess, but it's the most likely guess. Will it affect Luoluo and Shui Wei? Ling Xiao's eyes showed a trace of worry. Definitely. Zhu Ganglai said, the original body and the true spirit are the most compatible, so Luoluo and Shui Wei will merge into one sooner or later. At that time, one of their consciousnesses will be destroyed, and as for who will take the lead, it's up to fate. Is there no other way? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Whether it was Luoluo or Shui Wei, Ling Xiao didn't want either of them to disappear. This is just my guess, I can't say for sure. But Master, When Shuiwei comes out and meets Luluo, everything will be clear. Zhu Genglai said slowly. Shuiwei? She had already been in seclusion for 4 to 5 years. She should be coming out soon. Let's hope everything goes well. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and shook his head. After the catastrophe a million years ago, there were many truths hidden behind the fog. Now, the truth was being revealed bit by bit, but some truths were hard to accept. No matter what, let's wipe out the heavenly devil ancient land first. A sharp glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as he calmed himself down and said slowly. Next, he accompanied Jin Se and Luo Luo for 2 days. At the same time, he sent out the disciples of Changsun sect to War God Continent to gather the forces of Changsun sect and prepare for the upcoming battle. The cultivation of the longevity sect's disciples increased by leaps and bounds. Yi Feng and Yi Meng both possessed the body of darkness. At this moment, their cultivation had already reached the half-step supreme being tribulation of the 4 symbols. They were only 1 step away from passing the supreme being tribulation. Their ancestor Yi Qinjue's rebirth made the brother and sister extremely excited. Yi Qinjue was also nurturing the 2 of them, activating the darkness bloodline in their bodies to the extreme. The chaos on War God Continent was getting worse and worse. The experts of the demon race came and went like ghosts, causing endless slaughter. Even a few martial Dao holy lands were completely annihilated by the demon race, completely wiping out their orthodoxies. On this day, the disciples of Changsun sect sent news that the heavenly devil ancient land had sent out 5 immortal realm experts. Under the lead of a young man named Young Master Xie, they killed their way to the Great Leiyin Temple. They were ready to destroy the Great Leiyin Temple in one fell swoop. It was even said that Ming Wang Temple had already submitted to the heavenly devil ancient land and participated in this siege. Even Jia Yi and Long-Browed Buddha sent out messages for help. The demon gods of the heavenly devil ancient land have finally made their move. Since that's the case, let's kill them all. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he decided to save the Great Leiyin Temple. The disciples of Changsun sect all rubbed their palms together. Their eyes were filled with excitement and strong battle intent. They were not afraid of the upcoming battle at all. Instead, they were filled with anticipation. Ling Xiao decided to capture the demon gods and find out about the situation in the heavenly devil ancient land. After that, he would lead his people into the heavenly devil ancient land. This time, Ling Xiao only brought along experts above the supreme realm among the disciples of Changsun sect. Originally, Ling Xiao wanted Jin Se to stay in Changsun sect. However, Jin Se also decided to follow Ling Xiao into this battle. Thinking that Jin Se had the divine sky-patching butterfly to protect her, Ling Xiao agreed. Ling Xiao, Jin Se, Zhu Genglai, Bai Longma, Zhu Biao, Long Outyan, Long Lai, Fire Phoenix Supreme, Moon God, Phoenix Lady, and Ling Zhao's 7 disciples. A total of 17 people charged towards the Great Leiyin Temple. Everyone knew that the time for the final battle had arrived. Swoosh! Ling Xiao tore through the void and led many experts towards the far west land. That was the direction of the Great Leiyin Temple. Just as Ling Xiao was rushing to the Great Leiyin Temple's rescue, somewhere in the chaotic void, 3 figures stood in the sky. Divine aura filled the air and emitted a terrifying aura. It was as if the sky was about to shatter. Among the 3 figures, one of them was a man in black armor. He looked heroic and tall. His entire body exuded a black mist, and his eyes were as sharp as a blade. There was also a burly man in beast skin. He held a huge mace in his hand. His entire body was emitting surging blood qi. His physical body was extremely terrifying. His hair danced wildly in the wind. His eyes were filled with invasive light and he emitted a wild aura. The last one was a young man who looked perfect. He was in a white robe. His body was strong and his skin was glowing. His entire body emitted an ethereal aura. His eyes were indifferent. It was as if he was a supreme emperor overlooking the world. He ignored all living things and did not put anything in his heart. These 3 people were the ancestor of the god-burying tribe, Zhang Su, the shaman king of the sorcerer tribe, Qi Kongjue, and the heavenly king of the heavenly human tribe by Wuliang. No one would have thought that these three peerless experts would meet here. Zhang Su, are you sure that Ling Zhao's strength is not weaker than yours? Qi Kongjue's eyes flashed as he looked at Zhang Su. There was a trace of seriousness in his eyes. That's right. His physical body and divine power law have reached the double god realm. His strength has probably reached the peak of the divine spirit realm. Coupled with the wordless heavenly book, he probably won't be defeated by me. If it wasn't for his strength, I wouldn't have let him go so easily. I would have killed him long ago and snatched the wordless heavenly book. Zhang Su said slowly. Chapter 1140. The successor of the Scarlet Dragon War God, it's not strange for him to reach the dual god realm. However, are you sure that your plan of driving the tiger to devour the wolf will succeed? If Ling Xiao can kill demon god King Bo Sun, I'm afraid our plan will be for naught. Bai Wuliang's eyes seemed to be filled with chaos as he said indifferently. When he mentioned demon god King Bo Sun, Zhang Su, Qi Kongjue, and Bai Wuliang's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness and fear. You want to kill Bo Sun? Impossible. Zhang Su sneered and said, even the Scarlet Dragon War God wasn't able to kill Bo Sun. Instead, he was only able to seal him. In the past million years, not only did Bo Sun escape from the sealed world, he even used the myriad transformations demonic scripture to continuously recover his strength. I'm afraid his strength is at least at the peak of the true god realm. The gap between him and Ling Xiao is too big. If Ling Xiao didn't have the wordless heavenly book, he wouldn't even have the qualifications to fight with Bo Sun. Ling Xiao has already become the successor of the Scarlet Dragon War God and obtained the wordless heavenly book. He has no way out of this battle. The power of the wordless heavenly book is too terrifying, so the best outcome I can think of is for both Ling Xiao and Bo Sun to suffer heavy injuries. If Bo Sun's strength is too terrifying, we only need to wait for the gate of the divine realm to open. At that time, the experts of the divine realm will naturally deal with Bo Sun and we only need to reap the benefits. Qi Kongjue nodded and said, you're right. As long as we don't show ourselves, we will be invincible no matter what. How long until the gate of the divine realm opens? 1,000,000 years have already passed. The world has changed greatly and the laws have recovered. Even the demon god has already escaped. The experts of the divine realm can't not feel it. Therefore, I feel that the gate of the divine realm will open soon. At that time, if the experts of our three races come, why should we be afraid of a heavily injured Bo Sun? Zhang Su sneered and said, you're right. Although Bo Sun used the 1,000 transformations demonic scripture to recover, this is the mortal realm. I'm afraid he can only recover the strength of the true god realm. The three of us have sealed ourselves for 1,000,000 years and our cultivation has regressed to the true god realm. I don't believe his strength is stronger. Brother Burial's plan isn't bad. Let Ling Xiao be the vanguard. We only need to pay attention to the progress of the battle. Bai Wuliang said calmly. Hee, I heard that young Master Xie from the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land is not simple. He seems to be Bo Sun's son. If he wants to fight with Bo Sun, let's see if Ling Xiao can defeat young Master Xie. If he kills young Master Xie, there will be no more room for negotiation between him and Bo Sun. Zhang Su sneered. Although he had fought Ling Xiao with his clone in the sky-burying cauldron, Ling Xiao's terrifying strength was still far beyond his expectations, especially when his sky-encompassing hammer and the sky-burying realm were both broken by Ling Xiao. Although he did not use his full strength, he could faintly feel that Ling Xiao still had something up his sleeve. Therefore, he did not want to fight to the death with Ling Xiao before he could ascertain the extent of Ling Xiao's abilities. The longer one lived, the more one feared death. Especially when they saw that returning to the god realm was within sight, they naturally cherished their lives even more. Ling Xiao had already guessed the conspiracy between Zhang Su, Qi Kongjue and Bai Wuliang, but this was an open conspiracy. No matter what, Ling Xiao had to fight demon god King Bo Sun. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not put Zhang Su and the others in his eyes. If he could kill Bo Sun, then these so-called gods in the Forbidden Grounds would naturally not be in his eyes. But if he died in Bo Sun's hands, then everything would come to an end. The Great Thunderclap Temple was located in the far west of the War God continent. In the far west, there was a vast and boundless desert. It was shimmering with golden light, mysterious and unfathomable, and was surrounded by mysterious Buddhist light. The Great Thunderclap Temple had been passed down for countless years. Legend had it that this desert had been tainted by the Buddhist light and had become extremely spiritual. Almost all the experts in the desert believed in Buddhism and worshipped the many living Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the Great Thunderclap Temple. In the middle of the desert, there was a spiritual mountain. It was tens of thousands of feet tall and connected the sky with the sun. It was like a divine realm. Ancient trees towered into the sky and palaces stood in great numbers, emitting an eternal and inextinguishable Buddhist light. This was the ancestral court of the Great Thunderclap Temple. There were countless temples and halls, and mysterious Sanskrit chants could be heard. Normally, countless living beings in the desert would come to the spiritual mountain to make a pilgrimage. But today, the desert around the spiritual mountain was already stained with blood. It was like an Azura hell with severed limbs everywhere. Rumble! In the void above the spiritual mountain, 6 terrifying figures stood in the air, emitting a monstrous demonic aura. They were shrouded in black divine light. The sky darkened and the void trembled. Endless astral winds swept through, dark clouds rolled, and thunder rumbled. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. Behind the 6 figures, there were several old monks in blood-colored monk robes. They had their palms together and seemed to be ashamed. On the spiritual mountain, the hundreds of thousands of monks in the Great Thunderclap Temple sat down cross-legged. They were all solemn and dignified as they chanted scriptures. Powerful psyche energy gathered and turned into a vast and majestic Buddhist light, forming an extremely huge barrier. This was the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier. It was said that when the Buddha attained his Tao, he observed the myriad of worlds and illuminated the past and future. The Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier in the void contained boundless light. It sealed off all the demonic chi in the surroundings, firmly keeping the 6 demon gods outside. However, the eyes of the elders, abbot, and protectors of the Great Thunderclap Temple were full of worry. The long-browed Buddha sat cross-legged in the void above the spiritual mountain. Kasyapa stood behind him. A bright Sarira floated above the spiritual mountain, becoming the core of the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier. This Sarira was said to have been left behind by the Buddha Lord. It contained endless magical power. Although the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier blocked the attack of the 6 demon gods, the long-browed Buddha was obviously exhausted. His face was extremely pale, and his eyes were full of anxiety. The strength of the 6 demon gods was too terrifying, especially the young man named Young Master Xie. He broke the 72 layers of the Great Thunderclap Temple's demons, subduing divine formation with one blow. If the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier had not been activated at the critical moment, the entire Great Thunderclap Temple would have been slaughtered. Old Bald Donkey, although the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier is very strong, how long can you last? Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. If you are as sensible as the Ming Wang Temple, surrender to me. I can spare your lives. Otherwise, when the Great Light Devil's Snare Barrier is destroyed, no one in the Great Thunderclap Temple will be left alive. A young man in a black robe said with an evil smile. He looked very handsome, tall, and exuded a mysterious aura all over his body. His eyes were blue, bright, cold, and arrogant, as if they contained the scene of the birth and death of the world. His sky-blue hair fluttered in the wind, making him look somewhat unrestrained. However, all this could not hide the cruelty in his eyes. Chapter 1141. Previously, he had led the 5 great demon gods and defeated the Ming Wang Temple in an invincible manner, forcing the Ming Wang Temple's Xitigarbha Wisdom King to surrender along with many experts. Today, he was met with strong resistance when he attacked the Tempest Temple. Even though he had slaughtered hundreds of thousands of believers and destroyed the 72 layers of demon subduing formation, he was met with the Great Light Datura Barrier. The great light Datura barrier had gathered the power of hundreds of thousands of people in the Tempest Temple. Even the 5 great demon gods under young Master Xie were injured. Young Master Xie was enraged when he saw that a bunch of ants dared to resist. Senior Brother Cheng, you should open the great light Datura barrier and surrender. Where there's life, there's hope. Do you really want the Tempest Temple to be destroyed? Ksitigarbha Viduraja was an old monk. He sighed and tried to persuade young Master Xie. Shut up. Changmei Buddha scolded and said coldly, Ksitigarbha, I thought you were different from the others in the Ming Wang Temple. I didn't expect you to be such a coward. How dare you side with the demons? You're the scum and disgrace of Buddhism. I'm ashamed to be with you. Even if the Tempest Temple is destroyed today, we won't surrender. Kasyapa Arhat looked at long-browed Arhat with worry and anxiety. His eyes turned red. Kasyapa, I'm afraid the Tempest Temple will be destroyed in today's battle. Are you willing to surrender? Changmei Buddha's face was pale, but he looked at Kasyapa and asked with a faint smile. Master, I'd rather die than surrender. Kasyapa abruptly raised his head. His eyes were red as he roared out those words. The disciples of the Tempest Temple seemed to be affected as well. They all roared, I'd rather die than surrender. I'd rather die than surrender. His furious roar reverberated through the heavens like a mighty torrent, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. The disciples of the Ming Wang Temple shuddered, their faces filled with shame, and they could not help but lower their heads. Ksitigarbha Viduraja smiled bitterly and shook his head. He knew that the Tempest Temple was destined to be destroyed. As expected, young Master Xie smiled faintly. His eyes shone with an evil and cold light. Very good. Since you're in such a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Do you really think a mere great light Datura barrier can stop me? Young Master Xie laughed coldly and leaped into the air. Rumble. Black light rose around him, and his demonic power was vast and unparalleled. The light in his palm was dazzling, and in an instant, a black dragon-shaped ancient sword appeared. It emitted a blazing divine light, and its divine power was vast and unparalleled. It was like a black demonic dragon, and it slashed down toward the great light Mandara boundary. Not good. Go, Kasyapa. Long-browed Buddha's expression changed. He quickly slapped Kasyapa's back and sent him flying. Rumble. The terrifying sword light fell, and it was as if a black curtain had covered the entire area. The black sword energy collided with the great light Mandara boundary, and it instantly set off a blazing divine light storm. The great light Mandara boundary trembled violently, and the runes shattered. Even the Buddha Lord Saraira in the center of the boundary began to tremble. Long-browed Buddha looked as if he had been struck by lightning, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Long-browed Buddha's face grew paler, and his eyes showed a trace of determination. Old bald donkey, I'd like to see how many strikes you can take. Young Master Xie laughed coldly, and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The demonic dragon ancient sword in his hand was a divine king weapon. It was the sword of demon god King Bo Sun. Although it was damaged in the battle 1,000,000 years ago, its demonic power was still unparalleled. If the great light Mandara boundary was not strong enough, the demonic dragon ancient sword would have destroyed it completely. Master. Ma Kasyapa roared, and his eyes were filled with worry. Kasyapa, the future depends on you. If you have a chance to survive, you must rebuild the great Layin Temple. Long-browed Buddha's face showed a trace of benevolence. There was no sadness, joy, or fear on his face. He slowly closed his eyes, put his palms together, and softly uttered the Buddha's name. Amitabha. Rumble. At this moment, the demonic dragon ancient sword slashed down again. The blazing sword light traversed the void and turned into tens of thousands of feet long, covering the sky and the earth. It once again fell on the great light Mandara boundary, causing the boundary to tremble violently, and the divine light swept out in all directions. The blood at the corner of long-browed Buddha's mouth became more and more shocking. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when he practiced Prajnaparamita, saw that the 5 skandhas were all emptiness, and passed through all suffering. Saraira, Form is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Feelings, thoughts, actions, and consciousness are the same. Long-browed Buddha recited the Heart Sutra, and his voice was like a great bell, shaking the entire sky above Spirit Mountain. All the disciples and elders of the great Lain Temple seemed to be influenced by long-browed Buddha, and they began to recite the Heart Sutra at the same time. The Buddha's voice was loud and vast, and a bright light shone in all directions, dyeing everything golden. Long-browed Buddha's body was shining brightly, and there seemed to be a Buddha sitting cross-legged in the void behind him, exuding a grand and pure Buddha's light, which made the great light Mandara boundary even more majestic. "You're courting death." Young Master Xie's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and all his divine power poured into the demonic dragon ancient sword. Instantly, his aura rose, and a murderous aura filled the sky. With an even more terrifying force, he slashed down on the great light Mandara boundary. Rumble! The great light Mandara boundary seemed to be unable to withstand the power of the demonic dragon ancient sword, and finally, when the third slash came down, it exploded with a loud bang. The terrifying sword aura rose violently, as if enveloping the entire great Lain Temple. Long-browed Buddha was the first to bear the brunt of it. Buzz. Long-browed Buddha suddenly opened his eyes. He had finished reciting the Heart Sutra, and he suddenly spat out 6 words of Sanskrit mantra. Like 6 bright thunderbolts exploding in the void, long-browed Buddha instantly merged with the Buddha behind him, and he slammed his palm down on young Master Xie. Rumble! This palm contained an incomparably terrifying power, as if it had completely covered the sky and the earth. It was indestructible, and it contained the aura of Buddha subduing demons. In heaven and earth, only I am supreme. Young Master Xie's expression suddenly changed. The power of this palm made him feel a sense of danger. He couldn't figure out how long-browed Buddha, a mere titled supreme, could unleash such terrifying power. Boom! Chapter 1142. The void trembled, and the earth shattered. Cracks spread out like a spider web. A huge palm print appeared on the ground. It was like an abyss, and even magma rose from the ground in the distance. Sacrifice spell? Amitabha! Senior Brother Chung, why did you do this? Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja's distressed face was full of emotions, and there was a trace of shame in his eyes. He was also shocked by long-browed Buddha's resolute resistance. Long-browed Buddha had just used the sacrifice spell of Buddhism. He used the Great Light Datura boundary as the foundation and the Heart Sutra to mobilize the power of the Buddha's light that had been accumulated for millions of years in the Tempest Temple. With the help of the 6 syllables mantra, he finally managed to use the supreme divine skill of Buddhism, the Buddha's palm. This palm had the power to kill gods and demons. Even Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja could not help but look forward to it. Would young Master Xie really be killed by long-browed Buddha? Old bald donkey, you deserve to die. At this moment, a cold and murderous voice rang out. A black-robed young man flew out from the depths of the earth. He looked extremely miserable. His hair was disheveled, and his clothes were tattered. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. What a pity! Long-browed Buddha's eyes showed a trace of regret. His entire body exploded and turned into a dazzling rain of light. After using the sacrifice spell, long-browed Buddha gathered all his essence, chi, and spirit into that palm. Whether young Master Xie died or not, he had no chance of survival. The sacrifice spell of Buddhism was very similar to the sky demon body disintegration technique of the demon clan. Long-browed Buddha had the will to die, but his only regret was that he could not kill young Master Xie. Amitabha! All the elders and disciples of the Tempest Temple looked sorrowful. They chanted the Buddha's name at the same time, and their figures were solemn. Ma Kasayapa's eyes turned red. Master! He roared, and tears gushed out of his eyes. Then, he knelt down heavily and bowed to long-browed Buddha. Today, I will kill everyone in the Tempest Temple. Young Master Xie's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He had nowhere to vent his anger, and it instantly fell on everyone in the Tempest Temple. Murderous intent flashed in the eyes of the 5 demon gods. They revealed a cruel look and were about to fly down to the great Lane Temple. Rumble! At this moment, the void instantly shattered. A golden fist imprint that exuded an ancient and mysterious aura, as if it could suppress eternity and crush everything, suddenly pressed down on the 5 demon gods. Who is it? The eyes of the 5 demon gods flashed as they sensed the terrifying power contained in the punch. They did not dare to be careless as they unleashed their demonic techniques and attacked the punch. Rumble! Terrifying divine light exploded. The attacks of the 5 great demon gods did not even manage to stop the punch for a moment. They were instantly shattered and landed on the bodies of the 5 great demon gods. The 5 demon gods felt as if they had been struck by lightning. The terrifying power surged into their bodies, causing them to tremble violently. They suddenly spat out mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying back. Their auras instantly became sluggish. With a single punch, the 5 great fiend celestials were severely injured. A sharp light flashed in young Master Xia's eyes as he looked at the shattered space in the distance. Rumble! There was a dazzling golden glow, and divine light gushed out. A young man in white robes walked out. His aura was overwhelming, and his eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. It was Ling Xiao. Following closely behind him were Jin Se, Zhu Ganglai, Long Outyen, and the others. They had all walked out of the void turbulence. Ling Xiao happened to see the scene where the long-browed Buddha had turned into a rain of light. Coupled with the blood and severed limbs around him, it made Ling Xiao's murderous intent surge to the sky. This young Master Xie in front of him deserved to die. It's Ling Xiao? Lord Sky Devouring is here. We are saved. It's a pity that the abbot could not see this scene. The abbot died so miserably. Lord Ling Xiao, please avenge the abbot. Everyone in the great Lane Temple began to cheer up. Their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. They were already in despair. Even the long-browed Buddha, who had used the sacrifice spell and mobilized the Buddhist power that the great Lane Temple had accumulated over millions of years, could not kill young Master Xie. However, they did not expect that Ling Xiao, who had disappeared for nearly 3 years, would appear. You are Ling Xiao? Young Master Xie's eyes flashed coldly. He raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, "That's me. Did you kill all those people?" Ling Xiao's voice was incomparably calm as he looked at the severed limbs around the spiritual mountain. However, those who knew him knew that Ling Xiao was on the verge of exploding. Young Master Xie had killed so many living beings, which had completely infuriated Ling Xiao. They are just a bunch of ants. So what if I killed them? However, I am really surprised that you dared to come to the great Lane Temple's rescue. I thought that you would continue to hide like a coward. Young Master Xie sneered. His eyes were filled with disdain. Ever since the Sky Demon clan appeared, he had heard news of Ling Xiao's disappearance. He naturally thought that Ling Xiao was afraid of demon god King Bo Sun. Hence, his words were filled with disdain. Ants? You are just a bunch of ants in my eyes too. I heard that demon god King Bo Sun is your father? If I kill you, I'm afraid he will be very angry. Ling Xiao said indifferently. However, his eyes became even colder. They were blazing like blades. Kill me? With just you? Ling Xiao, you are really overestimating yourself. Do you really think that you have the right to be arrogant in front of me just because you destroyed my father's all transformations demon body? Since you are here, you can die together with the great Lane Temple. Those are all your women? Don't worry, I will take good care of them for you. Young Master Xie smiled evilly. His eyes were filled with coldness. You deserve to die. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. Golden blood surged from his body as he punched towards young Master Xie. Rumble! Heaven and earth trembled as a golden fist flew through the air. It contained an unstoppable force as it flew towards young Master Xie. You are courting death. Young Master Xie sneered. The demonic dragon ancient sword emitted a dazzling light. Black divine light rose as if a demonic dragon was flying between heaven and earth. It suddenly pounced towards Ling Xiao. Although he was very disdainful of Ling Xiao, he was not careless in his attacks. Ling Xiao's punch could severely injure the 5 demon gods. It was enough to prove that Ling Xiao was very strong. Hence, he directly activated the demonic dragon ancient sword and attacked Ling Xiao with the power of a godly monarch weapon. Chapter 1143. Ling Xiao suddenly sped up like a bolt of golden lightning across the sky. He dodged the sharp edge of the ancient devil dragon sword and slammed his golden fist onto the ancient devil dragon sword. The sword chi was shattered, and the fist was unstoppable. The ancient demon dragon sword trembled slightly, and a surge of godly energy flowed into young Master Xie's body. Young Master Xie's arm went numb, and the ancient demon dragon sword almost flew out of his hand. He was shocked. He didn't expect Ling Xiao's physical body to be so terrifying. Without a second thought, the ancient devil dragon sword spun around, the sword ray blazing as it slashed towards Ling Xiao's neck. Although a godly king weapon is good, it's a pity that you can't unleash its true power. Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes shone with an unparalleled sharpness. A bright light gushed out from his palm, as if it had turned into a blazing vortex. This was the power of the heaven-devouring secret technique. The heaven-devouring divine sea surged from Ling Xiao's palm as though it was going to devour everything. When the ancient demon dragon sword flew towards Ling Xiao, it was instantly enveloped by the heaven-devouring divine sea. It was as though the ancient demon dragon sword was stuck in mud, and it trembled violently. Bang! Ling Xiao suddenly kicked out, and an unparalleled force was aimed at young Master Xie's face. Young Master Xie's face changed, and black light surged from his arms as he quickly blocked the attack. Gotcha! Ling Xiao's kick was probably enough to kill a godly being. Even though young Master Xie was extremely strong, he was still unable to withstand it. A crisp sound rang out as his arm was broken, and he was sent flying back. Ling Xiao's hands suddenly shot to the side, and the demon dragon sword flew out. Ling Xiao's body flashed with light, and as though he had teleported, he appeared behind young Master Xie in the blink of an eye. Boom! The golden fist exploded, and it was unstoppable as it landed on young Master Xie's body. The black robe on young Master Xie's body was like a powerful treasure. Instantly, it shone with a dazzling light. Numerous runes rose into the air before exploding with a loud bang. However, the black robe couldn't completely block the power of Ling Xiao's punch. It still landed on young Master Xie's body, causing him to tremble violently. He staggered and spat out a mouthful of blood. Boom! 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 Ling Xiao's figure was like a ghost. Since he had seized this opportunity, he naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity. The golden fist was extremely powerful, and Ling Xiao threw out over 100 punches in an instant. Young Master Xie was instantly in a lot of trouble. Even though the black robe he was wearing was a defensive treasure, Ling Xiao's body had already become a god, and his fist intent was unparalleled. He already had a trace of invulnerability. Even the defensive treasure was unable to block this kind of pure physical strength. Of Ling of Ling. Of Ling of Xiao of Ling Xiao of Ling Xiao. Of Xiao of Ling of Xiao of Ling of God of Hell of Xiao of God. The disciples and elders of the Great Thunderclap Temple were also extremely excited. The ferocious and arrogant young Master Xie was actually beaten up by Ling Xiao to the point where he couldn't even put up a fight. This instantly boosted their confidence. The 5 demon gods who were injured by Ling Xiao of Ling Xiao of God of Ling Xiao of God of Hell looked at Jin Sei, Zhu Genglai, and the rest coldly. In their eyes, these people were just a bunch of ants who hadn't even broken through to the godly realm. Since they came with Ling Xiao, as long as they captured them, they would definitely be able to make Ling Xiao hesitate. Unknowingly, the 5 demon gods also developed a deep sense of fear towards Ling Xiao. The 5 demon gods leaped up and charged towards Jin Sei, Zhu Genglai, and the rest. Jin Sei's eyes flashed, but she didn't move at all. Zhu Genglai's eyes were filled with mockery. Just as he was about to attack, A few crisp voices rang out. "Mistress, leave these 5 fellows to us." Mu Linfeng, Duge Longqing, and the rest of Ling Zhao's 7 disciples looked eager as though they had seen their prey. They immediately pounced on the 5 demon gods. Bush. The 7 beams of divine light were dazzling and contained the power of yin, yang, and 5 elements. It was as if they had instantly formed a vast formation that enveloped the 5 demon gods. "Demon brats, have a taste of my power." Mu Linfeng and the rest had small gourds on their heads. They looked like they were carved from jade, and their chubby faces were very cute. They stared at the 5 demon gods with their big eyes and punched. Rumble. The 7 of them seemed to be telepathically connected. 7 divine fists fell and intertwined with each other. Their auras rose and exploded with 7 times the strength. It was as though 7 mountains were pressing down on the 5 demon gods. The 7 of them had obtained the origin of the 7 demons' gourd and had already established the foundation of the divine path. Although their cultivation hadn't officially broken through to the godly realm, the 7 of them combined their strength and exploded with a strength that far exceeded the godly spirit realm. Bolts of lightning rose up. The 5 demon gods were shocked. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. They could not believe that the strength of the 7 youths could be so terrifying. They actually felt exhausted from dealing with them. Rumble. Mu Linfeng and the rest engaged in an intense battle with the 5 demon gods. However, it was obvious that Mu Linfeng and the rest had the upper hand. Moreover, they had the idea of tempering their cultivation and didn't immediately kill the 5 demon gods. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that the 5 demon gods would probably be played to death soon. How boring! Only a few of these demon brats came, and it's not even enough to divide. Looks like I can only wait until we get to the heavenly devil ancient land to go on a killing spree. Long Outyen's face was full of depression. Even the fire Qilin he was riding felt a little regretful. Mu Linfeng and the rest were Ling Zhao's disciples after all. Long Outyen usually considered himself as their martial uncle, so he couldn't snatch these 7 guys from them. Therefore, he could only sulk there alone. "Don't worry, Outyen. When we get to the heavenly devil ancient land, those demon brats will probably kill you until your hands go limp," Jean Se said with a smile. She knew how terrifying the demon race's reproduction ability was. Although the demon race was sealed in the heavenly devil ancient land, the number of demon race that had reproduced after so many years wouldn't be much less than the sealed land. The heavenly devil ancient land was originally a battlefield of the great divine demon war. However, many heavenly devil race experts were sealed there. With the help of demon god King Bo Sun's strength, they were finally able to escape. Chapter 1144. Boom. A golden fist came crashing down from the sky with unparalleled divine power. It landed on young Master Xie's body and sent him flying into the endless sea of sand. Young Master Xie coughed out blood continuously. Even the black robe on his body couldn't withstand Ling Zhao's terrifying attack and started to tear apart. Black runes exploded one after another, and young Master Xie looked extremely pathetic. "Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you." Young Master Xie went completely crazy. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Boom. Black godly light surged around his body as an ancient and mysterious aura exploded forth. His godly power was as vast as the ocean, causing the entire sky to tremble violently. Behind young Master Xie, it was as if an indomitable demon god had appeared. Chaotic heavenly demon skill. Young Master Xie roared. Instantly, the surrounding void shattered, and the demon god walked out from the endless void. A mysterious fluctuation of laws flowed around his body. It was as though he was the source of all demonic Tao. A pair of eyes opened, and black divine light shot out. It was as though he wanted to destroy the heavens and earth. He suddenly enveloped Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao felt a cold, murderous intent coming towards him. Without thinking, he immediately moved away. Kacha! A dazzling divine light appeared where Ling Xiao was just a moment ago, and it directly destroyed that part of the void. "Ling Xiao, go to hell!" Young Master Xie's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The chaotic heavenly demon behind him slammed its palm down on Ling Xiao. Instantly, streaks of blazing sword light intertwined, as though it wanted to cut Ling Xiao into pieces. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. With a roar, he dashed towards the divine demon of chaos. Ling Xiao could feel that young Master Xie's chaotic heavenly demon skill was a truly peerless demonic skill. The chaotic heavenly demon that he formed was like the ancestor of all demonic Tao, and it exploded with terrifying power. The divine light of the four elements shot into the sky and circled around Ling Xiao's fist. Behind Ling Xiao, the shadows of the four divine beasts appeared. Against young Master Xie, Ling Xiao directly used the four elements sky striking style. Ling Xiao only wanted to defeat young Master Xie as soon as possible. Perhaps he could find out the whereabouts of Demon King Bo Sun from him. Rumble! The four mammoths' heaven-striking style transformed into a chaotic fist imbued with unparalleled divine power. Suddenly, it blasted towards the chaotic heavenly demon. Dazzling divine light erupted and directly blew up one of the chaotic heavenly demon's arms. Whoosh, whoosh. Ling Xiao was like a bolt of golden lightning. He clenched his invincible fist seal and fought with the heavenly demon of chaos. With the terrifying power of the four elephants' sky-striking style and the invincible body of Ling Xiao, the heavenly demon of chaos was quickly destroyed. What? Young Master Xie's body trembled as an incomparably grave expression appeared in his eyes. The chaotic heavenly devil technique was his strongest technique. Even the chaotic heavenly devil technique was destroyed by Ling Xiao. It seemed like he was no match for Ling Xiao. His heart had already given birth to thoughts of retreating. You want to leave? Today, you have to pay with your life for long-browed Buddha and the lives of these dead creatures. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent as he saw young Master Xie's intention to retreat. He immediately pounced towards young Master Xie, wanting to make him stay here forever. Ling Xiao, I admit that you're very strong, but you don't have the ability to kill me. When my father arrives, it'll be the day of your death. Young Master Xie glanced at Ling Xiao coldly. The ancient demonic dragon sword flew across the sky and turned into a blazing black sword light, slashing towards Ling Xiao. Young Master Xie instantly broke through the void and fled madly into the distance. Boom! Ling Xiao destroyed the sword light with a punch. Then, he teleported over and sat on the white dragon horse, giving the white dragon horse a fright. I'll go after young Master Xie. You guys go to the heavenly demon ancient land immediately. Ling Xiao pulled the reins, broke through the void, and chased after young Master Xie. No matter what, young Master Xie must die. Seeing that young Master Xie had escaped, Mu Linfeng and the others gave up the idea of fooling around. They unleashed their terrifying strength and killed the 5 great demon gods with their 7 origin energies. After comforting the people of the Great Thunderclap Temple, they also rushed towards the heavenly demon ancient land. At this time, the Great Thunderclap Temple was besieged by the sky demon gods. But at the last moment, Ling Xiao killed a few great demon gods. Even young Master Xie, who was known as the son of demon god King Bo Sun, escaped. Everyone suddenly felt that the war god continent was about to change. The battle between Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun was about to happen. This concerned the fate of the war god continent. Everyone was extremely excited. The experts of the Martial Way Holy Lands who were in hiding even started to organize experts to go to the heavenly demon ancient land to help Ling Xiao. However, most of the experts were still observing. They didn't even think that the battle between Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun would be a success. But there were still many people who weren't afraid of death. They all rushed towards the heavenly demon ancient land with the intention of watching a good show. At this time, Ling Xiao was riding on the white dragon horse. He had already intercepted young Master Xie in the void. Although young Master Xie was fast, how could he be faster than the white dragon horse? Ling Xiao, do you really want to be my enemy? Young Master Xie's face was extremely ugly as he stared at Ling Xiao. Be your enemy? Are you worthy? Brat, stick out your neck and let my big brother slash you. Otherwise, even if my big brother lets you go, I won't let you go. Before Ling Xiao could speak, The white dragon horse glared at young Master Xie and sneered. "Today, you will die without a doubt," Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. "Ling Xiao, I'll fight it out with you." Young Master Xie's eyes revealed a trace of determination. He couldn't beat Ling Xiao in a fight, nor could he run away. Young Master Xie's heart was broken. He could only fight with his life. Rumble. The aura around him rose. Terrifying black light filled the air. His entire body exuded a terrifying fluctuation. He held the demonic dragon ancient sword in his hand and slashed at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply as he punched at young Master Xie. The terrifying fist print was unparalleled, wanting to kill young Master Xie completely. However, something unexpected happened. Young Master Xie's eyes flashed with killing intent. He actually charged towards Ling Xiao without dodging. Then he opened his arms and hugged Ling Xiao tightly. Rumble. Terrifying fluctuations rose from young Master Xie's body, and a destructive force was about to explode. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He was a little surprised. Young Master Xie wanted to self-destruct? However, Ling Xiao naturally wouldn't let him self-destruct in front of him. He sent young Master Xie flying with a punch. Boom! Young Master Xie's entire body exploded. It was as if a dazzling sun had exploded. The light was unparalleled, and it lit up the sky, causing the void to distort. Chapter 1145. He still managed to escape? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He did not expect young Master Xie to choose to self-destruct in order to escape. Moreover, his primordial spirit had activated the ancient demonic dragon sword. Even Ling Xiao could not stop him in time. "Big brother, that brat is very slippery. Let's go to the heavenly devil ancient land and kill that brat." The white dragon horse was also stunned. However, it immediately became furious. Young Master Xie had actually escaped in front of its white dragon horse. This was an insult to it. "Let's go. Let's go to the heavenly devil ancient land and have a look." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Although he felt a little regretful, he still urged the white dragon horse to go to the heavenly devil ancient land. The heavenly devil ancient land was an ancient battlefield. It was shrouded in demonic qi all year round. It was filled with broken mountains and rivers and countless skeletons. Very few people came to the heavenly devil ancient land. Even if they were supreme being experts, if they were contaminated by the demonic qi, they would not be able to get rid of it. Especially after the appearance of the heavenly devil clan, there were no signs of human habitation. Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse descended from the void and entered the heavenly devil ancient land. There is a strong seal fluctuation here. It should be over there. It should be a small world. The white dragon horse's eyes lit up as it pointed to the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. "Let's go." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he rode the white dragon horse into the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. The world was dusky, and black demonic qi lingered in the air. The surroundings were barren mountains, and most of them were in ruins. Some had been severed at the waist, some had been cleaved in half, and some had been directly smashed into pieces, turning into a stone forest. On the ground, there were many broken skeletons and weapons. Ling Xiao could vaguely identify the skeletons. Some belonged to the human clan, some belonged to the demon clan, and some belonged to the demon clan. However, they were all dried up. As for those broken weapons, they had also lost their divine fluctuations and turned into scrap metal. The sky was vast, and the surroundings were desolate. Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse came to the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. There were two black mountains. They looked like the guardians of this world, emitting an ancient and boundless aura. These two mountains should be the entrance to the sealed land. There used to be a powerful seal array, but it was destroyed. The white dragon horse sniffed and stared at the two mountains in front of it. "You can still sense the array here?" Ling Xiao looked at the white dragon horse in surprise. "Of course. The sealing array here is clearly targeted at the devil race experts. If I'm not wrong, I'm afraid there's a sealed area inside. But big brother, you have to be careful. If demon god King Bo Sun is really here, I'm afraid this is a dangerous place. The white dragon horse said solemnly. No matter what, we have to go in and take a look. If demon god King Bo Sun was really here, it would be the best time to kill him before he recovered his strength. Otherwise, once he wakes up, I'm afraid no one will be able to control him. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and said slowly. Facing Bo Sun demon god king who even Scarlet Dragon war god couldn't kill, Ling Xiao didn't have much confidence in his heart. Even if he reached the realm of 3 gods, he might not necessarily be Bo Sun demon god king's opponent. After all, the difference in cultivation was too great. A divine king expert, even if he only had a trace of strength left, he might be able to exterminate an ordinary divine spirit with a breath. But this time, Ling Xiao came with the determination to kill Bo Sun. Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse instantly passed through the space barrier between the 2 mountains and entered an unfamiliar space. Just as they entered this space, a pungent smell of blood greeted them. Rumble. This was a desolate world with no end in sight. Yellow sand covered their feet, but there was a thick smell of blood in the distance. There was even the roaring and boiling sound of the sea. When Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse saw the blood-red sea in the distance, they were stunned. This was a sea formed from blood, and the thick stench of blood was coming from this sea. In the center of this sea was a 300-meter-tall altar. It was completely crimson like blood, and it was made from the flesh and blood of humans. Ling Xiao could even see that there were many corpses of the human race and the demon race floating in the blood-red sea. Damn it! These devil race bastards deserve to die. They actually formed a blood-red sea. How many people have they killed? The white dragon horse was so angry that it was trembling. Its eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Anyone who saw this scene would be enraged beyond belief. Ling Xiao's expression became calmer. His eyes were incomparably deep and were covered with a layer of black fog. That was a blazing, murderous intent that was almost tangible. Everything in front of him had completely triggered Ling Xiao's murderous intent. He also understood that in the hearts of the devil race, the human race had always been food. The human race and the devil race could not coexist. They could only fight to the death. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not need to be angry or say anything. All he needed to do was to kill. Kill all the devil race and slaughter all the demonic gods. Kill, kill, kill. Just as Ling Xiao saw the blood-red sea in the distance, some people also noticed Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse. Human race expert? Kill him. An incomparably cold voice sounded. In an instant, hundreds of powerful figures appeared in the sky. Their eyes were filled with cruel, murderous intent. Rumble. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably calm. He simply threw out a punch. The blazing fist light enveloped the entire area. It was dazzling and extremely beautiful. It contained an aura that could annihilate everything. It was as if it wanted to turn everything into dust. Among the hundreds of devil race experts, there was not a single demonic god. Naturally, they were no match for Ling Xiao. They did not even have the time to scream. Their eyes were filled with fear as they were instantly turned into dust by the fist. Hundreds of devil race experts were killed by Ling Xiao with a single punch. Enemy attack. Just as Ling Xiao killed hundreds of devil race experts with a single punch, the devil race experts finally reacted. Each of them let out an incomparably sharp cry. Ling Xiao could see that there were hundreds of thousands of devil race experts surrounding the blood-red sea. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Obviously, they did not expect Ling Xiao to be so powerful. Kill them all. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He jumped down from the white dragon horse's back and charged towards the devil race experts. To Ling Xiao, as long as they did not enter the godly state, no matter how talented or powerful they were, they would not be able to withstand a single punch from him. They would be killed instantly. Chapter 1146. Human, don't be so arrogant. At this moment, a demon god finally arrived. It was a middle-aged man in black armor. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He held a black spear in his hand and charged towards Ling Xiao. Die! Ling Xiao only uttered a simple word. Suddenly, he grabbed the black spear and punched out. Bang! Ling Zhao's terrifying punch directly blasted the demon god's head apart. Even the demon god's primordial spirit didn't have time to escape. Together with the godhead, his soul was completely destroyed. The demon race experts didn't even have time to cheer. They were like ducks with their necks stuck. Their mouths were wide open and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Even the demon god was killed by this human with a single punch. How strong was he? At this moment, Jin Sei, Zhu Ganglai, Long Outyen, and the others had also arrived at the heavenly devil ancient land. They had also entered this space through the message left behind by Ling Xiao. When they saw the blood-red sea, the blood flowing, the endless corpses, and even the eyes of those who died with grievances, their eyes turned red. There was no need to say anything more. Everyone rushed up and charged towards the endless number of devil race experts. At this moment, they only wanted to kill all the demon race experts in front of them. They wanted to vent all the hatred, depression, and anger in their hearts. A sharp light flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes. He saw the altar in the blood-red sea. It was forged from the flesh and blood of humans, and it contained a mysterious and ancient pulse of energy. Ling Xiao could feel that the altar seemed to lead to a place in the void. It was actually a gigantic trans-realm teleportation array. Ling Xiao didn't even think about it. He wanted to rush towards the blood-red altar and destroy it completely. Ling Xiao felt that perhaps the blood-red altar was the treasure to summon the demon god King Bo Sun. You're courting death. Who dares to behave atrociously here? At this moment, an old and cold voice sounded in the void. Rumble. The blood-red sea shook violently. In an instant, 3 old demon gods rushed out from it. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Ling Xiao. The 3 demon gods' auras were extremely terrifying. They weren't any weaker than young Master Xie. They had already reached the peak of the divine spirit realm. Elders, please kill this human. He has killed countless of our clansmen. The human deserves to die. Elders, please kill him. Many demon race experts were wailing like ghosts and howling wolves. They were scared out of their wits. But when they saw the 3 demon gods, they immediately became excited. These 3 demon gods had survived the war 1,000,000 years ago. Their strength was terrifying, and they weren't any weaker than young Master Xie. If the 3 of them worked together, they could even suppress young Master Xie. Boom! 3 terrifying auras soared into the sky and locked onto Ling Xiao in an instant. Human, you actually dare to behave atrociously in the territory of my Sky Devil clan. Then, stay here and become a part of the Sky Devil altar. The demon god, un. Sush, sush, sush. 3 resplendent divine lights shot towards Ling Xiao like black dragons. They were 3 black chains that contained an indestructible force. They wanted to lock Ling Xiao up. Kill! Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly. He shouted coldly. Forming an invincible fist seal, he charged towards the 3 demon gods. Boom! Ling Zhao's fist landed on one of the black chains. Golden light shone brightly and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. The black chain trembled violently and shot towards the distance. Ling Xiao took advantage of this gap and slashed down with his palms. 2 blazing palm blades slashed on the other 2 chains, pushing them away. He then rushed towards the heavenly devil altar. Courting death. The 3 demon gods' eyes shone with killing intent. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to want to destroy the heavenly devil altar. They couldn't tolerate it. Rumble. Dazzling light shone brightly. The auras of the 3 demon gods intertwined. They stood on 3 sides of the altar and formed an extremely mysterious battle formation, trapping Ling Xiao within. Black divine lights rose from the battle formation and turned into saber and sword radiance. It was as though they wanted to cut Ling Xiao into pieces. Break! Ling Zhao's body shone brightly. He was like a dragon. His eyes were blazing with killing intent. He executed the 4-elephant sky striking style and punched towards the 3 demon gods. Rumble! The chaotic fist seal was unstoppable. It was as though thunder was rumbling in the void. Ling Zhao's body exploded with unparalleled divine power, causing the 3 demon gods' faces to change. They unleashed their full strength. Demonic light gushed out from their bodies, illuminating the void and pressing down on Ling Xiao. Gotcha! Ling Xiao's punch directly broke the battle formation between the three great demon gods. Then, it violently slammed into their bodies and sent them flying. Buzz! At this moment, the heavenly devil altar began to emit black rays of light. Resplendent runes filled the air and the surrounding space began to tremble violently. The sea of blood surged crazily and a black passageway seemed to have appeared in the sky. Not good. Ling Xiao's face changed. He could feel that there was a terrifying existence on the other side of the heavenly devil altar that was about to pass through. He didn't even think about it. The divine power around him surged like a dragon. Golden light gushed out, and a vast dragon's aura erupted. He punched towards the heavenly devil altar below. 49 rainbow-colored divine dragons soared through the void. They contained indestructible power and were about to destroy the heavenly devil altar. Stop! The three demon gods were extremely anxious. Each of them began to fight with their lives on the line. Rumble! Black divine lights rose from their bodies. Terrifying demonic aura erupted. The black chains in their hands sealed the sky and exploded with terrifying power. The three demon gods charged towards Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique at the same time. Rumble! The three black chains trembled violently. The three demon gods were also struck by Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique. Each of them looked as though they were struck by lightning. They coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying back. They crashed into the blood-red sea, causing huge waves to rise. They blocked Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique. The heavenly devil altar wasn't affected much. It began to tremble violently. The passage in the void shone brightly. It was as though a powerful aura was about to descend. The passage in the void was finally about to be completed. Ling Xiao's heart sank. Chapter 1147. Rumble! Ling Xiao's blood qi surged into the clouds, and his dragon's might was boundless. He pushed his physical strength to the limit and slammed into the void tunnel. No matter who was on the other side of the tunnel, Ling Xiao only wanted to destroy the tunnel completely. Gotcha! Streaks of golden lightning pierced through the void like divine chains of order. Ling Xiao was shrouded in an endless golden glow. His entire body was like a golden star that suddenly exploded. The void passage had not been completely formed yet, but Ling Xiao could already see that there were countless figures with powerful auras in the void passage. Their eyes were burning with killing intent, and their demonic power was monstrous. They were about to descend from the endless void. Rumble! In the sky above the heavenly devil altar, the void passage was suddenly blasted apart by Ling Xiao. Blazing divine light filled the surroundings, containing an incomparably terrifying fluctuation. The void tunnel shattered, and a storm swept out. It was as though a huge black hole had appeared in the sky. Has the tunnel been destroyed? Long Outyin and the rest could not help but raise their heads, their eyes filled with anticipation. As for the experts of the demon race, their eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. They had killed so many humans and used their flesh and blood to build the heavenly demon altar, all for the sake of summoning the demon gods. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would be so decisive and destroy the heavenly demon altar at the last moment? Ling Xiao's eyes were blazing with killing intent. Standing in the void, he stared at the huge black hole that was spewing out black light, and his entire body began to be on guard. Ling Xiao could feel that although he had destroyed the void tunnel, and many experts of the demon race were killed by the turbulence in the void, there were still extremely terrifying existences that had locked onto the heavenly demon ancient land. They were traversing the turbulence in the void and rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Ling Xiao could feel that most of the terrifying auras belonged to the demon gods. There was even an extremely obscure figure that was extremely terrifying. Although the void passageway had been broken open, Ling Xiao could sense that those powerhouses would descend very soon. Gotcha! The void tunnel trembled violently, and a monstrous demonic aura filled the air. It contained an incomparably terrifying killing intent, as though it wanted to completely destroy this part of the world. The vault of heaven was completely shattered, and figures with monstrous auras descended from the 9 heavens. They were shrouded in a monstrous demonic aura, and their eyes were incomparably cold, containing a cruel and bloodthirsty light. They were like blood moons that rose into the sky. Above the 9 heavens, a battleship as huge as a mountain. Terrifying figures from the endless turbulence in the void, densely packed, there were countless people. Ling Xiao could feel that there were actually over 100 experts of the demon god realm. Each of them was boundless demonic qi. Especially on that battleship, there was an ancient throne that was shining brightly. A figure in a black robe was sitting on it, shrouded in dark light. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his eyes were incomparably deep, exuding an endless majestic and domineering aura. As he sat on the throne, he seemed like a supreme king that could sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and he naturally possessed a supreme aura of being the ruler of all living beings. The divine king of the Star Alliance? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He didn't expect that the opening of the void tunnel of the demonic altar would summon the divine king of the Star Alliance. But wasn't the Star Alliance supposed to fight against the demon race? Why would they collude with the demon race? Beside the divine king were over 100 experts of the demon god realm. Their divine aura was boundless and terrifying, and their eyes were filled with cruel killing intent. Ling Xiao recognized at a glance that nearly half of them had escaped from the sealed world. In addition to these hundreds of demon gods, there were tens of thousands of experts of the Star Alliance. The weakest of them were soul kings, and many were supremes. However, these experts of the Star Alliance didn't seem to be in a good state. Each and every one of them was soaked in demonic qi. Their eyes were filled with cold killing intent, and there wasn't a trace of emotion in them. They were like puppets. The arrival of over 100 demon gods made everyone tremble. Their eyes revealed an incomparably dignified expression. The demons of the heavenly devil ancient land cheered, their eyes filled with incomparable excitement. They even began to roar loudly. From the sea of blood, young Master Xie's figure shot up into the sky. He reformed a new body, but it looked very weak. It wasn't as terrifying or powerful as the previous one. His eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. He flew directly to the warship and knelt before the mysterious divine king. "Greetings, father." Young Master Xie's eyes were filled with joy and admiration. "Father." Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply. Young Master Xie actually called the divine king father? Could he be the demon god King Bo Sun? Ling Zhao's heart couldn't help but tremble at the thought. "My son, you've worked hard. Who destroyed your demon god body?" The black-robed divine king glanced indifferently at young Master Xie. "Father, my demon god body was destroyed by Ling Xiao. His body has become a god, and his strength is incomparably terrifying. He was the one who destroyed the void tunnel of the heavenly devil altar. Father, please kill him." Young Master Xie pointed at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with hatred. "Don't worry. From today onwards, this world will belong to the divine clan. All the humans will become our food. Ling Xiao will naturally die as well." The black-robed divine king said indifferently. Black divine light filled his eyes, as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. It contained an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation. "You are the demon god King Bo Sun?" Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at the black-robed divine king in front of him. He stood in the sky, surrounded by demonic light. The murderous intent of hundreds of emotion intertwined, as if it was going to shatter the heavens and earth. However, he wasn't afraid. He stared at the black-robed divine king and asked, "That's right. It's me." The black-robed divine king said indifferently, admitting it directly. "I really didn't expect that the so-called Star Alliance had already been taken over by the divine clan. The extraterritorial star world is your nest, right? But do you really think that you can control the divine war world?" Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply, as if 2 peerless divine swords were piercing through the void, wanting to break through all the darkness. Golden light filled the air around him, and a vast amount of qi and blood rose, forming the shape of a real dragon around him. His aura was vast and unparalleled. He faced all the experts of the divine clan alone. Chapter 1148. What Ling Xiao feared the most was demon god King Bo Sun in front of him. Ling Xiao could feel that Bo Sun's cultivation was unfathomable. He was probably even stronger than Zhang Su's original body. Bo Sun's true combat strength was probably above the true god realm. However, Ling Xiao also had some doubts. Although demon god King Bo Sun was very strong, he didn't feel like he couldn't defeat him. Thinking back to what Zhang Su had said about demon god King Bo Sun's main body being in the heavenly devil ancient land, Ling Xiao guessed that demon god King Bo Sun might also be a myriad transformations demon body. Otherwise, Bo Sun wouldn't have scared Zhang Su to the point that they didn't even dare to attack. Instead, they wanted Ling Xiao to test Bo Sun's strength. However, if a myriad transformations demon body was so terrifying, how strong would Bo Sun's original body be? Ling Xiao had a premonition that this battle would be the most difficult one. If he was careless, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. On the other hand, Jin Se, Long Outyen, and the others were deeply worried. When the true strength of the demon race was revealed, it gave off a feeling of invincibility. Could Ling Xiao really kill demon god King Bo Sun? Hundreds of demon gods were enough to wipe out the entire war god continent. If Ling Xiao wasn't here, there was no suspense at all. Those divine beings in the Forbidden Lands deserve to die. They know that the demon gods have descended and slaughtered all living things, but they still hide in the Forbidden Lands and watch the tigers fight. They bully the weak and fear the strong. They are more despicable than the demon race. Long Outyen's eyes were cold as he thought of the arrogant celestial race and god-burying clan. None of the divine beings in the Forbidden Lands had appeared. No matter what, today's battle is destined to be extremely dangerous. Moreover, we have no way out. We must kill all of these demon race. Jin Se said calmly, her eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Then let's kill. I haven't killed a divine being before. Today I, Long Outyen, will kill a few demon gods for fun. Long Outyen sneered. Junior martial uncle, don't worry. We brothers will protect you. What can these demon race brats do? We can kill them all. Mu Linfeng, Lu Jianyi, and the other 7 brothers laughed. Not only did they not have the slightest fear, but their eyes were also filled with a strong fighting intent. I need your protection? TSK, if you're so capable, let's see who can slay a god first. Long Outyen said proudly. Under everyone's encouragement, the sense of crisis and nervousness was diluted by quite a bit, and they all revealed a powerful fighting spirit. In this battle, they could only advance and not retreat. If they lost, the only thing that awaited them was death. If he wasn't even afraid of death, then what was there to be afraid of? Ling Xiao could feel the fighting spirit from the crowd and nodded in his heart. He took a deep breath and transmitted his voice to Zhu Ganglai and the White Dragon Horse. You too, protect Jin Se well. If they are in danger, send them into the Divine Stone. Ling Xiao had already given the God Stone to the White Dragon Horse in advance so that he could go all out in this battle. Master, don't worry. Mistress will be fine. However, you have to be careful. Demon God King Bo Sun's strength is extremely terrifying. He has many tricks up his sleeves. With your current strength, you are definitely not his opponent. If there is any danger, you can directly undergo the God Tribulation. Perhaps you can delay him. Zhu Ganglai solemnly transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. All right. Ling Xiao said calmly. Ling Xiao, I admire you. Whether it is your talent, temperament, or combat strength, you can be said to be a rare genius in 1,000,000 years. You should understand that with your strength alone, it is impossible to resist the power of my demon race. This is the general trend. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you are willing to submit to this king and hand over the wordless heavenly book, this king will not only not kill you, but will also nurture you. How about it? Demon God King Bo Sun looked at Ling Xiao indifferently, and there was even a hint of admiration. Through these few exchanges with Ling Xiao, he could see that Ling Xiao's talent and temperament were incomparably strong. Although the wordless heavenly book was powerful, it was only an external object. One's own strength was the foundation. He even felt that Ling Xiao had a great chance of becoming a saint. Such a figure was worth his effort to rope him in. Ling Xiao smiled coldly and said, "Those who are not of my race will definitely have different intentions. Your demon race views my human race as food, slaughtering billions of lives, and creating endless bloodshed. We are already irreconcilable. What qualifications do you have to ask me to submit to you?" Demon God King Bo Sun smiled faintly and said, "Ling Xiao, you have to know that this is a world where the strong are respected. The weak can only be reduced to ants, at the mercy of others. The weakness of the human race can be said to be known by everyone in the universe. Many races like to treat humans as food, and it is not just my demon race. But if you are strong enough, you can obtain dignity and a chance to live. You have to consider carefully. If you don't accept, you will die, and everyone related to you will also die." The strong are respected? What a good, the strong are respected. Then if I am stronger than your demon race, does that mean I can slaughter your demon race as I wish? Although the human race is weak, they will constantly strive for self-improvement. You don't have to waste your breath. Bo Sun, if you have the ability, then fight with me. I will definitely kill you in this battle. Ling Xiao laughed loudly, and the corner of his mouth revealed a trace of ridicule, but his eyes were filled with monstrous battle intent. What a foolish perseverance. Ling Xiao, although I admire you, if you are determined to be my enemy, I can only kill you. However, do you really think that you can contend against the entire demon race with your strength alone? Demon God King Bo Sun smiled faintly. Rumble. Just as his voice fell, all the demons in the surroundings suddenly roared. Demonic energy rose, and heaven and earth trembled. Terrifying fluctuations spread in all directions, and when the demonic aura descended, it caused everyone's expression to change abruptly. The aura of over 100 demon gods intertwined, causing the surrounding void to tremble, as if the world was about to be destroyed. And Ling Xiao stood in the midst of the demonic light that filled the sky. His white robe and black hair fluttered in the wind. He faced all the demon race experts alone, but his figure looked somewhat lonely. Ling Xiao's eyes overflowed with killing intent. Although he was not afraid of over 100 demon gods, Long Outyen and the rest would definitely not be able to withstand the attacks of so many demon gods. Ling Xiao had already decided that if over 100 demon gods attacked at the same time, he would directly swallow the heaven-mending pearl and trigger the divine tribulation. Ling Xiao believed that the divine tribulation of the three-god realm was something that the 100 demon gods would not be able to withstand. It might even be able to annihilate all the demon race experts in one fell swoop. However, this divine tribulation was originally prepared by Ling Xiao for demon god King Bo Sun's main body, but now he had no choice but to activate it in advance. A group of demon bastards, if you want to deal with Ling Xiao, you have to ask for my permission first. At this moment, a lazy voice rang out in the void. Rumble. Chapter 1149. The old goat stood in the air. His fur was glossy and shiny like silk. He was about 10 feet tall and looked like a calf. His entire body was covered in a faint light and his goat face was filled with a cold smile. Behind it were 9 burly men in black armor. Their muscles were taut, and their chi and blood were extremely violent. Their eyes were filled with incomparably cold sharpness. The 9 strong men were all experts in the divine spirit realm. Each of them emitted a strong demonic aura and a strong battle intent. Old goat. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and a smile appeared in his eyes. When he finished his seclusion, he heard that the old goat went to the holy ground to seek help from the ancient demon clan. He didn't expect that he would really get help. The 9 strong men behind the old goat emitted a strong demonic aura. They were obviously demon gods. They should be the ancient demon clan in the holy ground. Fortunately, I'm not late. Ling Xiao, the 9 of them are ancient demon gods. They are here to help us fight against the demon clan. The old goat chuckled and introduced them to Ling Xiao. As soon as the old goat finished speaking, a light flashed in the air and 3 figures appeared. Taoist Wu Yang? You can find reinforcements too? The old goat's eyes flashed. The handsome middle-aged Taoist in the lead was none other than Taoist Woolyang. Behind him were 3 old Taoists with white hair and beards. They looked benevolent and kind. Their faces were like babies. Their eyes were deep and there was a faint smile on their lips. How can I not be involved in the battle against these demon clan bastards? Ling Xiao, these 3 Tao masters are my seniors. They are here to help us in the battle. Taoist Woolyang smiled at the old goat and Ling Xiao. The aura of the 3 old Taoists was unfathomable. They were at least in the divine spirit realm. They looked ancient as if they were immortals in the legends of the ancient era. They were extraordinary and elegant. Although Ling Xiao was curious about the origins of the 3 old Taoists, he knew that it wasn't the time. So, he didn't probe further. The people brought by Taoist Woolyang were definitely reliable. Thank you for your help, Taoists. Ling Xiao can't thank you enough. Ling Xiao cupped his hands at the 9 demon gods and the 3 old Taoists and said sincerely, "You're too kind, young friend Ling. We've heard about you from Woolyang. It's really admirable. No matter what, this pure land cannot fall into the hands of the devil race. Today, even if we have to risk our lives, we will stop them." An old Taoist with white hair and beard smiled. Ancient Taoist sects and ancient demon race? If you had stayed out of this, perhaps this king could have spared your lives. But since you are seeking death, then this king can only fulfill your wishes. Kill them. Demon god King Bo Sun's expression was very calm. Even if the old goat and Taoist Woolyang came with reinforcements, he was not surprised at all. In his eyes, be it the ancient Taoist sects or the ancient demon clans, they were all useless and not worth mentioning at all. The only thing he was interested in was Ling Xiao. As soon as demon god King Bo Sun gave the order, over 100 demon gods descended from the sky. As for the experts of the Star Alliance, they were like cannon fodder that attacked Ling Xiao and the others. The devil race experts in the Heaven Devil ancient land were driven mad by the appearance of demon god King Bo Sun. They didn't fear death at all as they charged forward. Rumble! Ling Xiao punched out. His fists blazed like fire, and several of the Star Alliance's fighters were reduced to a bloody mist. None of the Star Alliance fighters were afraid of death. After Ling Xiao killed a few of them, it only served to stoke their bloodlust. They charged at Ling Xiao. Rip! The old goat's eyes were as cold as ice, and his baleful aura surged. Above his head, the Heaven Devourer cauldron appeared, pulsing with the power to devour anything and everything. In the blink of an eye, over 100 devil race experts were sucked into the cauldron. The Heaven Devourer cauldron burned with fire as their flesh, blood, and nascent divinities were refined by the old goat. As for Taoist and Scrupulous, he was much more refined. An ancient sword appeared in his hand. The sword light was blazing, cutting through the void like a resplendent galaxy. Every time the sword fell, a large number of demons would be directly killed, and all traces of their existence would be completely erased. Dragon Proud Heaven, Yu Ganglai, the White Dragon Horse, the 7 Mu Linfeng brothers, Dragon Ardent, the Moon Goddess, and Phoenix Lady all made their moves. Their eyes shone with incomparable sharpness, and their killing intent surged as they unleashed powerful attacks on the devil race experts. Heaven Devil subduing grand formation. Crimson light flashed in the eyes of the 9 burly men. The burly man in the lead bellowed. Instantly, their auras intertwined with one another. Their divine power was as vast as the sea. They formed a huge formation and charged towards the 100 demon gods. Grand formation of the 3 clears god firmament grand formation. A sharp glint flashed in the eyes of the 3 old Taoists. At the same time, they formed a seal with their hands. Dazzling runes rose into the air. The 3 of them formed the 3 forces of heaven, earth, and man. They drew the dazzling divine lightning in the sky and charged toward the demon gods. Rumble! Streaks of blazing lightning bolts were terrifying. They contained incomparable power as if they could turn everything into dust. Although the devil race experts were prepared, they did not expect the 3 old Taoists to be so terrifying. The divine lightning they summoned was even more terrifying than a heavenly tribulation. They were caught in the divine firmament grand formation. Heaven and earth trembled violently as streaks of purple lightning bolts resembled true dragons. In the endless sea of lightning, 3 mysterious figures appeared and suppressed the devil race experts at the same time. Boom! The 3 devil race experts in the 3 Clears God Firmament Grand Formation were caught off guard and were struck by the dazzling lightning bolts. They were completely turned into dust, and their souls were scattered. As for the remaining demon gods, they were also severely injured. "You're courting death." At that moment, a bull-headed devil race expert's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The black scales on his body flickered with a dazzling black light, and the horn on his head seemed to be able to communicate with the lightning in the sky. He held a huge lightning hammer in his hand, and the lightning in the sky surged toward the hammer in his hand. Rumble! The huge lightning hammer pressed down on the 3 old Taoists with unstoppable force. It contained an incomparably terrifying power. The horned devil race expert's strength was extremely terrifying. He had almost surpassed the peak of the divine spirit realm and reached the true God realm. The 3 old Taoists' expressions changed slightly. Crack! Chapter 1150. Kill these 3 old bastards. Horned demon god roared, his eyes filled with murderous intent. He raised his thunder hammer and charged at the 3 old Taoists. On the other side, although the 9 demon celestials had formed the great celestial demon subduing array, there were still too many demon celestials. There were more than 100 demon celestials, and almost half of them were charging towards them in an attempt to wipe them out completely. Both the devil race and the monster race were races that placed great importance on the physique. Their physiques were extremely powerful and their blood energy surged to the sky. Inside the heavenly demon exorcism grand array, the 9 great monster gods formed invincible fist seals and actually engaged in a bloody battle with the devil gods. Every punch landed on the flesh, emitting muffled sounds of thunder. Kill! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with murderous intent. His huge palm fell, and a destructive divine light shrouded the area. Hundreds and thousands of Demon Race and Star Alliance experts were slapped into a bloody mist. At the same time, he used the power of the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique and pounced on the demon gods. Rumble! Heaven and earth trembled violently, and a dragon's roar resounded through the sky. 49 rainbow-colored divine dragons burst out from Ling Zhao's fist. They looked vivid and lifelike, and each of them had the power of a god. It was as if Ling Zhao had blasted out 49 punches in an instant. The terrifying fist intent stacked together, and contained unparalleled power, directly bombarding the body of a demon god. Boom! That demon god was directly blasted into pieces by Ling Zhao, but his fist didn't lose its momentum. Like a golden divine light, it pierced through 2 more demon gods in an instant, blasting them into a bloody mist. The devouring divine sea behind Ling Zhao surged, and a majestic devouring power erupted, instantly devouring the flesh and primordial spirits of the 3 demon gods. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and his battle intent rose to the extreme. He felt every pore in his body spitting out the essence of heaven and earth. Every particle in his body came alive, and the bloodthirsty killing intent hidden in the depths of his heart erupted. Ling Zhao only wanted to slaughter all the demon race experts in front of him. "You're courting death." Demon god King Bo Sun was originally sitting cross-legged on his throne. His eyes were indifferent as he watched the battle, as if it didn't matter who died or who died. But when he saw Ling Zhao kill the 3 demon gods with a single punch and devour their flesh and primordial spirits, his face instantly darkened, and a cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Rumble! He slapped his throne, and his whole body suddenly stood up. A terrifying aura, as if heaven and earth was overturned. An incomparably cold killing intent locked onto Ling Zhao. He took a step forward, traversing tens of thousands of feet in an instant. Then he threw a punch at Ling Zhao. Black divine light rose, and it was as if all the light in the sky had been swallowed up by his fist. The huge fist print contained endless dark demonic light, as if it was the hand of the Devil Emperor who ruled the world, pressing down on Ling Zhao. Ha! A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. Instantly, the golden chi and blood around his body rose. He also threw out a punch, and a golden fist imprint exploded. It was as though a god of war had descended to the world, containing an indestructible power. This was the god of war King Fist, the ultimate fist technique of the god of war art. When Ling Xiao was still in the supreme realm, he was unable to unleash the power of the King of War Fist. Now that he had achieved the double god realm, the divine battle force in his body was boundless. In addition, he had absorbed the unparalleled fist intent from the battle with the 9 Supreme Emperors during the Divine Tribulation, allowing his fist to possess an extraordinary power. Rumble! A muffled sound came, and the surrounding void trembled violently. The terrifying god of war King Fist collided with demon god King Bo Sun, and set off a terrifying storm of divine light. Both of them retreated at the same time, and stood in the 9 heavens, facing each other. The battle intent in their eyes seemed to be able to destroy everything. God of War King Fist? You have indeed inherited the God of War art. Although your strength is not strong enough, your fist intent is boundless. Your talent is really strong. Demon God King Bo Sun said slowly with a hint of surprise in his eyes. A casual punch from him could practically kill any divine spirit realm expert, but it was blocked by Ling Xiao's God of War King Fist. Ling Xiao did not say anything, but his heart sank slightly. The War God King's fist he had just unleashed almost all of his physical strength. It was not the slightest bit inferior to the Myriad Dragon's god-slaying technique, but it was only on par with Demon God King Bo Sun's casual punch. Ling Xiao could feel that Demon God King Bo Sun's Myriad Transformations demon body had at least the strength of a true god. As for which stage of the true god realm it had reached, Ling Xiao did not know. Although Ling Xiao had reached the dual god realm, his true cultivation was only at the early stage of the divine spirit realm. The gap between the two was too big. Ling Xiao knew that Demon God King Bo Sun had the Myriad Transformations demon scripture, Demon God's Eyes, Heaven Severing 5 Styles, and Young Master Xie's Chaotic Heavenly Demon Technique. These peerless demonic techniques in the hands of Demon God King Bo Sun could probably explode with terrifying power. Ling Xiao could feel that if he did not reach the triple god realm, he might not even have a chance. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were burning with killing intent. He held the invincible fist seal and attacked Demon God King Bo Sun. No matter what, he could only advance in this battle, and could not retreat. Between him and Demon God King Bo Sun, only one could survive. Ling Xiao's body was filled with dragon aura. The power of the divine dragon body exploded. His body was invincible, and contained a kind of invincible power. It was terrifying to the extreme. Your battle strength is not bad, and your talent is extremely high. It's a pity that your cultivation is too weak. If you have the cultivation of true god realm, you might have a chance to fight with me. Demon God King Bo Sun said indifferently as he punched towards Ling Xiao. Blazing divine light rose. When he punched out, the fist seal swept out in all directions, as if it had turned into a world of darkness. The fist intent gave birth to all kinds of mysterious creatures. Vast mountains, rivers, lakes, and endless worlds of life and death, all of them pressed towards Ling Xiao. This was the Myriad Transformations Demon Fist, the invincible fist seal of the Myriad Transformations Demon Scripture. When Demon God King Bo Sun used it, it had a kind of invincible fist intent that encompassed the heavens and swept through all directions. Rumble! The two fists collided. Resplendent divine light burst out, and the void trembled violently. Demon God King Bo Sun did not move, but Ling Xiao was like a golden meteor, and was instantly sent flying by Demon God King Bo Sun. The terrifying power contained within the 10,000 transformations demonic fist made Ling Xiao feel as if he was fighting against a vast expanse of heaven and earth. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were indifferent. He took a step forward and disappeared into the void. In the next moment he appeared behind Ling Xiao, and a resplendent palm blade slashed towards Ling Xiao. Chapter 1151. Rumble. A black blade radiance traversed the void like the Milky Way. It was incomparably sharp and contained the power to destroy everything. It was like the first ray of light from the beginning of the world, splitting the chaos and breaking the void. It contained endless vitality and destruction. This was the first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles. It was finally unleashed at this moment. In the star world, Ling Xiao had once fought with one of His Majesty's avatars. Although Ling Xiao destroyed the first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles with the 4-elephant sky striking style, the terror of the first style was deeply imprinted in Ling Xiao's heart. At this moment, Demon God King Bo Sun's first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles was more than 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and the sky-devouring sword appeared in his palm. During this period of time, Ling Xiao had killed many demon gods. The sky-devouring sword had devoured all the demon weapons and divine weapons he had obtained. The sky-devouring sword's quality had reached the level of a divine weapon. With the innate Spirit King as its weapon spirit, the sky-devouring sword was constantly growing stronger. Swoosh! Ling Xiao's body instantly soared into the sky. The sky-devouring sword released endless light. The roars of dragons, tigers, phoenixes, and tortoises shook the void. When Ling Xiao's sword slashed down, it seemed to have opened up a boundless world. The shadows of the 4 divine beasts appeared. The 4-elephant sky striking style and the sky-devouring sword combined to unleash the most terrifying power. This was Ling Xiao's peak attack. It combined his physical body and the divine power law in his body, allowing the sword to rise to a higher level. Rumble! The void trembled violently as the blade and the sword collided in the void. It was as if the universe had exploded. The endless starry sky was destroyed. The collision between the first style of the heaven-slaying style and the 4-elephant sky striking style was as if it was going to destroy the world. It set off a boundless divine light storm that lit up the sky completely. That terrifying aura swept out in all directions, causing many of the demon gods and people from the longevity sect who were fighting to be shocked. Their eyes were filled with solemnity. It was too terrifying. They had never thought that there would be such a terrifying power in the world. It was as if it was going to destroy the world and recreate the chaos. Even those demon gods could feel that if they were in the middle of the battle between Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun, they would probably be torn into pieces instantly. But what they were most concerned about was who won. Boom! Amidst the dazzling divine light, 2 figures flew back. The heaven-devouring sword in Ling Xiao's hand was buzzing and trembling. His face was a little pale, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. However, his eyes were incomparably resplendent and bright. Heaven-severing first style. Ling Xiao stared at demon god King Bushuan, his eyes filled with powerful battle intent. I didn't expect you to be able to fuse the secret techniques of the wordless heavenly book and create your own path. That's amazing! The demon god King Bo Sun said indifferently as a sliver of shock flashed through his eyes. Although he had retracted his hand into his sleeve, there was a deep sword mark in a place that no one could see. What he didn't expect was that not only did his first strike fail to kill Ling Xiao, but he was also injured by Ling Xiao's sky-swallowing sword. I really want to see just how powerful the complete heaven-severing 5th style is. Make your move. Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably sharp. He clenched the sky-swallowing sword in his hand, and sword chi gushed out, causing the surrounding void to tremble slightly. Behind Ling Xiao, there seemed to be a vast sea of divine power. It was the power of the sky-devouring divine sea, which could endlessly devour and refine the essence of heaven and earth to make up for his deficiency. Although the demon god King Bo Sun's first strike had injured him, under the miraculous effect of the sky-devouring divine sea, the vast essence of heaven and earth quickly surged over, and the injuries in his body began to heal rapidly. Whether it was the sky-devouring divine sea or the godly spiritual body, they both gave Ling Xiao the power of an undying body. As long as he didn't suffer irreversible injuries, he could quickly recover. Ling Xiao didn't want to activate the divine tribulation now. He wanted to take a risk and see just how strong the demon god King Bo Sun was. After all, Ling Xiao understood that the demon god King Bo Sun in front of him was only a myriad transformations demon body. If he couldn't even kill him, how could he kill the demon god King Bo Sun's main body? Ling Xiao, your talent is indeed very strong. But it's a pity that you still have to die today. Demon god King Bo Sun said indifferently with a cold glint in his eyes. His body trembled slightly, instantly leaving behind countless black afterimages in the void, making it impossible to tell which one was his real body. Demon god King Bo Sun's speed was so fast that even Ling Xiao couldn't catch him. He appeared in front of Ling Xiao almost instantly. When Ling Xiao saw the dazzling saber light explode, he felt a fatal threat in his heart. Clang! Ling Xiao didn't even think as he stabbed forward with the sky-devouring sword. This sword was extremely ingenious. Ling Xiao had fused with the sword intent of the Sword Emperor in the Divine Tribulation. It was when the blade light had just risen and hadn't reached its peak. The sound of metal clashing could be heard, and the blade light in front of him was suddenly destroyed. Good sword technique. But the second style of heaven slashing isn't that simple. Demon god King Bo Sun's voice was erratic in the void, making it impossible for others to catch his location. But just as he finished speaking, a resplendent blade light poured down on Ling Xiao like a torrential rain. Rumble! The surrounding void trembled. The blade light was extremely fast. Not only was it impossible to catch it with the naked eye, but even the primordial spirit couldn't lock onto it. Therefore, everyone below could only see a resplendent blade light descending from the 9 heavens like a waterfall and drowning Ling Xiao in an instant. The threat of death in his heart grew stronger and stronger. But the more it was like this, the more clear-headed Ling Xiao was. Buzz! The sky-devouring sword emitted a misty glow. At this moment, Ling Xiao didn't even think about martial arts or mystical abilities. He just followed his own heart and the vast sword intent that he comprehended from the Sword Emperor. The sky-devouring sword danced around like flowing water. Clang, clang, clang. In the void, the sound of metal clashing could be heard incessantly. Blade light and sword light rose and then rapidly exploded. But the resplendent blade light was getting faster and faster. In an instant, there would be tens of thousands of blade light descending and locking onto every part of Ling Xiao's body. The blade light began to break through the defense of the sky-devouring sword and slashed on Ling Xiao's body, leaving marks on the powerful Ares set. Boom! Dazzling runes exploded one after another, and the Ares god of war armor seemed to be unable to withstand such a terrifying saber light. It actually began to shatter, and the sound of the saber light piercing into flesh could be heard clearly. Ling Xiao's body began to emit a shocking bloody light. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.